Welcome back. Today we recap How to Prey on the Master. Like and subscribe for more epic tales. Your support keeps us going. Enjoy. At twilight on Friday, Eloise's world is pulverized as her fiancé, Francois, reveals his cruel betrayal. Despite ruining Elle's life, Adelaide has the audacity to demand a heartless, smiling, congratulatory blessing. Shameless indeed. But Elle isn't a weak heroine who will tolerate such a pathetic, blatant insult. She clenches her fist, delivering a devastating punch right where that cheating bastard deserves it most. Elle returns to the ballroom, cold and regal, announcing to the nobles that their engagement is finished. Her true friends toast her freedom, offering drinks to celebrate her lucky escape from that trash. Meanwhile, the high society gazes at Theodore, the mysterious powerhouse who suddenly graced the party. Her old academy classmate is feared by all. They call him the Empire's lethal crazy dog. The cheaters reappear. Elle watches silently, remembering how Francois once looked at Adelaide with hunger. She had blinded herself with love, desperately clinging to a man who had already strayed. Haunted by his once bright smile, Elle can no longer bear the sight of their disgusting betrayal. She flees to the garden. Thorns tear her skin, but the physical pain is nothing now. Regret poisons her soul. That night, she begs the heavens to reset this tragic, broken timeline. She vows to never love him again. Then, darkness consumes her as she suddenly collapses. Suddenly, she is bound in heavy iron chains. A cold voice declares her impending execution. Why must she die? What was her sin? Before answers come, the blade falls. She dies. But then, a familiar, deep voice pulls her back from the cold abyss of death. Waking up, she is in Theodore's private chambers. He greets her with a chilling title, Master. Auguste Theodore Jean de Clément, the second son of Duke Clement. He is dangerously, incredibly gorgeous. Her former academy rival was the star of the party where her engagement finally crumbled. Seeing her clothes are untouched, Elle breathes a sigh of relief. She remains safe. It seems Theodore found her collapsed in the garden and carried her to his private room. Though they were once fellow cadets, they were never more than distant, cold acquaintances. During the inauguration, he became a butcher, slaughtering many. He is the Empire's most dangerous dog. Why would a killer save her? And why call her master? He leans in, testing her. Elle clutches his shirt, desperate to stop him from leaning any closer to her. His obsession is suffocating. He grabs her nape, whispering a dark desire into her ear. He kisses her hand. Terrified by his sudden intensity, Elle bolts from the room immediately. Such bold intensity. Duty calls. Elle, heir of the 𝓬𝓭 house, returns to the November Nights as deputy commander. As a royal protector, she has no room for tears or heartbreak after last night. At the training grounds, Maurice Duroux watches her sword dance with great pride. The lieutenant's son sees his late mentor's fiery spirit alive in Elle's fierce movements. Then comes 𝓚𝓮𝓪𝓭, the squad's information genius, carrying the weight of 1,000 secrets. Elle notices 𝓚𝓮𝓪's suspicious grin. Something big is brewing behind the scenes of the capital. Expecting chaos in her office, she finds it meticulously organized and perfectly polished instead. Theodore awaits. He kisses her hand, announcing himself as her personal assistant. Why, master? She protests, but the commander reveals the assignment is final. There is no escape. Having a beautiful assistant isn't bad, unless he decides to chop her head off. One wrong move with this crazy dog, and her life might end right here. Furious, she confronts 𝓚𝓮𝓪. The informant definitely knew about this dangerous pairing all along. 𝓚𝓮𝓪 claims ignorance, though she probably knows even the Empress's most private secrets. Does she know Maurice's secrets too? Suddenly, the man himself enters the scene now. With Elle hot on the trail, Maurice finally cracks. The mastermind behind this chaos is a single, powerful figure. None other than Marie Josephine Claire, the legendary. Princess Pippin, a prodigy in war and politics, she's the ultimate candidate for the throne. Clearly, she pulled the strings. Her excuse? Theodore is simply a consolation prize for Elle's humiliating broken engagement. She predicts Adelaide's scheme to frame Elle as the jealous villainess who sabotaged their true love. Pippin won't tolerate any stains on her honor. To bury one scandal, she throws Theodore into the fire. Putting on a masterclass in deception, Pippin sheds crocodile tears to seal the deal. She insists only Elle can tame Theo. Elle has fallen for this act before, but now, things are different. No amount of pouting or acting cute will sway her resolve this time around. But everyone has a price. A 10% raise later, and Elle is officially sold. Returning to the office, Elle demands absolute obedience. Surprisingly, the dangerous knight doesn't resist at all. Usually, he'd radiate a cold, lethal aura of rebellion. Instead, a predatory chill fills the room. It's the gaze of a beast that's finally found its mark. Theo whispers that her rejection only fuels his excitement. Like a loyal hound, he craves his master. Elle stands firm. She was the one who quelled his madness before. Under her watch, he'll never break his chains again. Theo seizes her hand, begging her to tighten the leash by simply speaking his name. Nightmares of execution haunt her sleep. By morning, the gossip of her broken heart has already begun to fade. Surprisingly, handling a man like Theo is proving easier than surviving the court's judgment. It takes 20 minutes of mental preparation before she can face him in her own office. It's only day 2, and already Morris offers her a guide titled, "There Are No Bad Dogs." A hint for her future, perhaps? As Morris exits, Theo startles her by acting like a perfect gentleman. Once she regains her composure, she demands to know why he insists on calling her master. His vague answers drive her to the brink of insanity as she tries to unmask his true intentions. Theo smirks and closes the distance. Seeing through his game, Elle slams him to the floor, pinning his neck. Elle radiates a terrifying killing intent, yet she notices something strange. Theo isn't fighting back. No, he's actually relishing the pain. This twisted dynamic is getting very interesting, very fast. What on earth is happening here? Just then, Laverne barges in without a second thought. She catches them in a compromising position. Elle quickly retreats, attempting to maintain her dignified facade. Theo plays the victim, asking why she's so furious when he only wanted to fix her cloak. Seeing the red mark she left on his neck, a flustered Elle sends him away on a paperwork errand. It's a desperate attempt to escape his suffocating presence for a while. She stops fighting the title and starts barking orders like a true master training a wild beast. With them gone, she finally admits it. The man is dangerously handsome. That lethal edge only adds to his irresistible charm. He's a beautiful disaster. Why her? Theo's eyes gleam with hunger as he declares that it could only ever be Elle. But what does he truly know? Is this tied to her past life? Did time truly turn back? Back at her desk, Elle consults the training manual. Apparently, every good boy needs a walk. Could a simple stroll really tame the monster residing within him? Laverne reports that the haughty nobles were paralyzed by the sheer ferocity in Theo's gaze. How did he crush their spirits so effortlessly? Elle realizes he's a very effective weapon. Surprisingly, her chaotic office is now spotless. The beast is actually a diligent worker. Guilt stings, but his intense, unwavering stare makes her blood run cold. Why won't he look away? Let's be real, she's staring back. Even drinking water feels heavy under his suffocating gaze. Caught in her own nervousness, she abruptly stands up to take her dog for some fresh air. Theo maps out the terrain with predatory precision. The streets are safe, but his presence is the real storm. Theo glows with joy, savoring their solitude. That manual was a stroke of genius. A shadow flickers in the tunnel. Elle draws her blade, but finds a stray kitten. They depart, sensing nothing. Yet, a predator watches them from the suffocating darkness. Behind the peaceful facade, a phantom thief plunders the mansions of the wealthy elite. Vanishing like a ghost, they call him Zephyr, the god of wind who leaves no trace. Twilight nears, but Theo lingers. Who knew this savage beast could act so puppy-like? Ambush! A figure snatches Elle's bag. Has the legendary Zephyr finally shown his face? Theo panics for her safety, but Elle barks an order. Hunt down that thief immediately. Theo strikes with lethal speed. His blade seeks blood, but the thief narrowly evades death. Not again! Theo snags the rope, violently slamming the culprit across the stone street. He prepares to strike. Elle suddenly blocks him. Wait, wasn't her ankle supposed to be crushed? Morris reveals the truth. This entire chaotic mess was just a mandatory welcome prank. Elle faked the injury while a knight played the thief. All just to bait Theo here. It's a brutal tradition for any soul brave enough to join the November Knights. Elle actually won before the prank started. She's terrifyingly strong. Welcome to the squad, Theo. Theo sighs. If she hadn't arrived, this party would have been a bloody funeral instead. Jerome the thief is still trembling. He saw true murder in Theo's cold, dark eyes. Theo is a ticking time bomb. Meanwhile, the commander uses a royal necklace as bait. He's hunting Zephyr. Now, Elle must stand in and introduce Theo to the rowdy knights. But the room is ice cold. This isn't the celebration she was expecting at all. Silence reigns. Theo isn't just a duke's son, he's the monster from those horrific rumors. Laverne saves the day. Thinking her job is done, Elle tries to slip away quietly. The air freezes. In front of everyone, Theo looks at her and says, "Master." Elle's face burns crimson. Now everyone thinks she's keeping the duke's son as a pet. Why would a man of high noble blood treat a deputy commander like his owner? Elle is mortified. Then Theo adds fuel to the fire, claiming he belongs to her. What could a prince like heir lack? The knights are mesmerized by his lethal, handsome face. I mean, just look at him. That jawline is enough to make any heart stop beating. To break the awkward tension, Laverne suggests a dangerous game of truth or drink. Theo must answer every question or down a glass of her soul-crushing special cocktail. That drink looks like a death sentence. Elle agrees, betting on Theo's high alcohol tolerance. She didn't expect Laverne to aim for the heart with such a blunt question. Do you love her? Elle chokes. Theo instantly offers his handkerchief to the blushing commander. The tension is electric. Theo prepares to confess, but Elle screams for him to just drink. Total mood killer. He downs the shot, though that glass was far too massive. Heaven help him! Theo just smiles at her, saying the poison tastes absolutely divine. Fearing his obsession, Elle downs the next shot. She knows how dangerous he can be. She'll sacrifice her own liver to keep the knights safe. Later, she seeks the balcony air. A massive crash echoes. She rushes back to find the mighty Theodore completely face down. Turns out, the legendary knight is a total lightweight. Now Elle must carry him home. Only she can handle this monster. But man, he is pure, heavy muscle. She must face his parents now. If they see him like this, everyone's heads will roll. Inside the carriage, Elle reflects. Life with Francois was never this chaotic or intense. She pretends to be strong, but the weight of her past is starting to break her. Suddenly, Theo stirs. Her breath hitches as he starts unbuttoning his uniform in the dark. Elle tries to stop him, but the carriage jolts, throwing her directly onto his lap. Before she can escape, his powerful grip locks her down, pinning her against the velvet seat. He cups her face, whispering a desperate plea. Theodore, what dark obsession are you hiding? You should be more specific, or our imaginations will definitely start running wild. He was handsome from afar, but this close, his lethal beauty is truly overwhelming. Theo grips her neck, obsessing over the dream of holding her. This romance just turned dark. What are you after, Theodore? Elle pushes him away, but he responds with a devious lick. Don't forget, our heroine's judgment is currently clouded by quite a bit of alcohol. They can't stay like this forever. Duty calls and a rogue knight is still at large. He leans in to kiss her, but the driver arrives, leaving them in a suffocatingly awkward silence. Waiting outside, the Duchess senses the heavy, suspicious atmosphere radiating from the carriage. As the driver reaches for the door, a frantic crash from inside suddenly halts his hand. Finally, Elle steps out, smoothing her clothes to greet Duchess Amalie with a stiff smile. Amalie offers a room, but the driver spots Theo's bloody nose. Elle, how will you explain? She can't save face for everyone, but surprisingly, Amalie seems focused on something much stranger. Why is her son half naked? Elle saved the kingdom, but now she must save herself. Demanding answers, Amalie leads Elle through the dark, quiet halls of the near-empty estate. Once the servants vanish, the Duchess drops her mask, demanding the absolute truth from Elle. Before Elle speaks, Amalie assumes her son is being bullied. Her motherly anxiety is peaking. You see, Theo had vanished, wandering the world as a nameless, dangerous knight for years. Fearing him dead, he only returned because of Elle. Amalie finally offers her proper thanks. Amalie departs abruptly, leaving Elle alone to process the heavy weight of these family secrets. Bathed in silver moonlight, Elle navigates the dark corridors with perfect, sharp clarity. She enters her room to find Theo staring out with eyes full of haunting, dark sorrow. Images of that blood-soaked day flash back the day Theo became a monster among knights. She had begged him to stop, but he only smiled, mistaking her horror for concern. He knew he was wrong, yet he was in a strangely gleeful mood amidst the carnage. Was it her presence that sparked his joy, or the thrill of the lives he'd taken? In her sleep, the face of Francois appeared, only to be twisted away by shadow. Suddenly, she wakes with a scream. Theo is lying comfortably right there in her bed. She panics, but he acts innocent. Asterisk. Slap. Asterisk. A red mark blooms as he turns around. What a reflex! Apparently, she had been chanting his name throughout her entire slumber. He smirks, asking what she did to him in her dreams. Mortified, she kicks him out. Morning arrives, and the mother-son duo is already waiting at the table for our lead. Seeing his calm face, Elle prays he's forgotten their scandalous carriage encounter from last night. Her staring catches Amalie's eye. How can she explain that the Duchess's son is her problem? A royal letter arrives, one for Elle. It seems the princess sees everything through the shadows. It's an invitation to a grand party where status is ignored and secrets will unfold. Elle entrusts Morris with the task of guarding the princess during this high-stakes event. Pippin's interest in Adelaide means Elle is off the guest list. A suspicious change indeed. The commander summons Elle regarding the missing wine. We all know who the thirsty culprit is. Jokes aside, the legendary thief 𝓬𝓪 struck last night, targeting the princess's precious necklace. The thief vanished like smoke. How could someone be fast enough to outrun the commander? If this keeps up, the prestigious reputation of the November Nights will be dragged down into total ruin. The commander exploits the gala to snare the thief, dangling a massive one-year salary as the ultimate bounty. 𝓬𝓪 recoils at the sight of Elle's maggoty lunch, mistaking this horror for some brutal poison resistance training. Her jaw drops when Elle calmly explains the truth. She must consume filth just to induce a fever. Absolutely repulsive. There is a fine line between dedication and insanity, and she just crossed it. Thankfully, that toxic plan is scrapped now that a literal fortune is up for grabs at the masquerade. Smelling an opportunity, 𝓬𝓪 desperately pleads with Elle to take her as her official partner for the night. Poor 𝓬𝓪 was snubbed from the guest list, but she bolts the second Morris is suggested as an alternative. Wow, it seems the tension between those two is still thick enough to cut with a dull blade. Meanwhile, Morris drags 𝓬𝓪 back after stopping the beast from threatening staff just to get Elle's requested books. He warns the prince that even royalty shouldn't bully staff, while Theo notes the city's suspiciously electric atmosphere. Morris reveals the cause: a massive gala where social ranks are cast aside for one night of chaos. After teasing Theo about his missing invite, Morris grows grim. Adelaide and that snake Francois will surely be there. Ugh, can someone please wipe those two off the face of the empire already? Theo's heart sinks as he recalls a young Elle, blushing while professing her undying devotion to that traitor. But the past is dead. Morris insists that in this modern war, Theodore is the only one she needs. He hopes the prince realizes this is the perfect chance to escort Elle and exact vengeance on their enemies. Theo revels in the idea of being her escort, while a frantic Francois trembles over his crumbling reputation. The coward whines like a kicked puppy, lamenting how the entire nobility now treats him like a leper. Adelaide looks ready to snap, viewing Francois as nothing more than a pathetic, useful idiot for her design. This woman is a predator. She hides her disgust behind a fake embrace the moment he looks frightened. Masked by a hug, she whispers a silent vow to drag Elle into the deepest pits of hell. Touch a hair on her head and you're dead. Meanwhile, our heroine is drowning under a mountain of reports. Stumbling into her office, she finds a sight that melts her heart: Theodore, fast asleep amidst the chaos. Seeing his work is finished, she gently drapes his fallen coat over his shoulders like a devoted guardian. But looking at him is dangerous. His sleeping face possesses a lethal, angelic beauty that stops her breath. She reaches out, her fingers trembling as she brushes a stray lock, completely lost in his radiant features. Her pulse thunders in her ears, the memory of their stolen moment in the carriage rushing back like fire. "When were you going to do it?" he whispers. Elle nearly jumps out of her skin. He was awake. Panicked, she stammers a denial, convinced he's caught her thinking about that forbidden, heart-pounding kiss. Theo smirks, calling her a liar, but he assumes she's just desperate to take him to the ball. Talk about a close call. Elle sighs in relief, glad his ego shielded her from her own perverted thoughts. She challenges him to a duel of pens. Finish the documents before her, and he can be her partner. Naturally, the prince fails the task, leaving Elle wondering why he doesn't just pull royal strings for an invitation. He retorts that he wants the world to envy her for having such a handsome man by her side. Narcissistic? Maybe. But Elle is focused on the real prize, hunting down the legendary thief 𝓬𝓪. Gold is her true master, and Theo remembers the princess mentioning how much Elle covets a heavy purse. His playfulness vanishes when he discovers the heartbreaking reason: she's struggling under the weight of her family's debt. Theo turns serious, offering a secret tale about Adelaide that will determine if he's worthy of standing beside her. Soon after, 𝓬𝓪 finds him sprinting like a demon, burning off a frantic energy she cannot explain. Theo admits he fled the office because the air between him and his master became too heavy. 𝓬𝓪 teases that Elle only rejected her because she already had eyes for her mad dog night. To the world, he's a beast. But to her, he's just in love until he mentions his blood-soaked ceremony. He butchered everyone who dared to dirty his master's name, proving his obsession is written in cold blood. 𝓬𝓪 shivers at his darkness. Meanwhile, the knights prepare for the hunt, noting their deputy's deadly serious aura. The tension thickens. Taking a break, Theodore offers Elle water while praising her for single-handedly capturing 𝓬𝓪 in every single match. But Elle knows the truth. Without his uncanny precision as an aide, both on the field and in the office, she wouldn't stand a chance. She decides it is finally time to offer her devoted knight some well-deserved praise. She playfully strokes his chin and praises him. Unbelievable. This dangerous knight truly behaves just like a loyal puppy. Theo smirks, suggesting he deserves a much more intimate reward than mere verbal praise. Elle sighs, noting how shamelessly he keeps pushing to be her official partner for the upcoming royal party. She stands her ground on going solo, suggesting he should just ask the princess for his own invitation instead. But Theo plays his trump card. He whispers that using him is the fastest way to crush Adelaide, making Elle's blood run cold. Before reaching Sale's palace, they make a quick detour where 3 energetic orphans rush out to greet them with joy. Elle greets them warmly, while Theo observes these small humans with a look of pure bewilderment. Elle kindly purchases the children's entire stock of flowers to ensure they have enough money today. When Theo asks, she shares their heavy pasts from Emma's ailing mother to Enzo's history as a desperate young thief. These kids are the princess's secret project. Suddenly, a child tacks a flower onto Theo's ear, making Elle burst into rare laughter. As Elle gently wipes dirt from a boy's face, a hostile voice thunders, ordering her to get her hands off him. The boy's eyes burn with hatred for nobles, convinced they're only there to exploit and sell them like livestock. Realizing young Jacques is still consumed by trauma, Elle chooses to retreat quietly, rather than force a hollow confrontation. As they walk, Elle confirms Theo's hunch. Jacques originally hails from the distant, war-torn regions of the East. That area is a breeding ground for traffickers, and poor Jacques was once a victim of their cruelty. Theo tosses the flower aside, noting the heavy burden royals carry, before gently tucking a fresh bloom behind Elle's ear. With a gaze full of obsession, he whispers that even the rarest blossom pales in comparison to her breathtaking beauty. "Stop smiling like that, you flirt." Cringe. Elle is absolutely mortified by his smooth-talking lines, turning away to hide the crimson flush staining her cheeks. To break the tension, Theo asks about the bouquet. Elle explains they're a gift for the princess and her subjects. Back at the palace, Princess Pippin is fuming. Dame Elle visited just to drop off flowers without even saying hello? Her aide reminds her she's the one who upset Elle first. Then, she turns to her cousin, wondering why he's lurking there. Theo flashes a playful smirk, reminding her they share blood. The princess recoils, demanding to know his business. Straight to the point, Theodore asks why his name was missing from the gala's exclusive guest list. Pippin assumes he already knows. She wants him to earn his spot by convincing Elle to take him as her partner. But Theo smirks, telling the princess her calculations regarding Elle are completely off the mark. He recalls how Elle flatly rejected using him for vengeance, proving her unwavering honor as a legendary Knight of November. Pippin is devastated by her failed plan, finally realizing she doesn't understand the complex dance between men and women. Poor princess. You might be a political mastermind, but you are still a complete novice regarding true romance. Frustrated, she lashes out at Theo, venomously claiming he's lost every ounce of the charm he once possessed. Theo shoots back a plastic smile while they secretly kick each other under the table like petty, squabbling toddlers. Despite their high status, they fight like petty children when no one is watching. Finally, Pippin agrees to an invite on one condition. He must provide an unforgettable, amusing spectacle at the party. Theo accepts the challenge with a dangerous glint. Meanwhile, a mysterious carriage arrives, carrying a frantic young noblewoman. Throwing ladylike grace out the window, she ignores her servants and bolts up the stairs at full speed. Breathless and desperate, she's crushed to find Elle has already departed. The princess tries her best to soothe the girl. This newcomer is Maria Charlotte, the eldest daughter of House Lorraine and the realm's most unexpected high society lady. Though shy and frail, she's actually the secret president of Elle's global fan club. Talk about a die-hard fangirl. Seeking information, Charlotte listens as Pippin tells a white lie, claiming they were just discussing their cousin Theo. Charlotte's heart sinks with guilt. If she hadn't been kidnapped, Theo might never have been forced into Elle's service. Plot twist: Theo is absolutely unhinged. He literally kidnapped his own cousin to blackmail his way into Elle's life. Seriously, Theo? Just how far will you go? Pippin offers macarons to cheer her cousin, but the princess's words are a total shock. Charlotte reaches the order, greeted by cheers as she sprints toward Elle's private office. Just as she reaches the door, a suspicious thud echoes from within the room. She bursts in and gasps. Theodore is pinning Elle to the floor in a scandalous pose. Charlotte demands Theo back off before breaking into hysterical sobs as Elle comforts her. Theo mocks her till Elle kicks him out, secretly glad for the timely, dangerous interruption. Let's jump back a few minutes. Theo finds a 100 Ways to Seduce book, and Elle frantically claims it's for research. He teases her mercilessly, holding the book high above her desperate reach. Their clumsy scuffle sends them crashing down, creating the mess Charlotte walked in on. Elsewhere, the phantom thief 𝓬𝓫 snags an invite, targeting the princess's precious necklace again. He overhears guards whispering about the massive bonus placed on his elusive head. With a predator's grin, he decides to give the order a night to remember. The commander is fuming, lashing out at Morris for failing to catch the thief. He worries the thief might not even show his face at the royal party. Morris predicts 𝓬𝓫's arrival, knowing the thief lives for the thrill of the spotlight. The commander scoffs at the thief's obvious hero complex and desperate need for attention. Elle escorts a blushing Charlotte to her carriage after their surprisingly fun afternoon together. Before the doors close, Charlotte asks if Elle will attend the upcoming grand gala. Fearing Elle's toxic ex, Charlotte vows to protect her no matter what happens there. Lost in thoughts of Elle, Charlotte is startled to find Theodore waiting inside her carriage. "Silence," he commands. He then asks if her feelings for Elle are actually genuine. Remembering Elle's kindness, Charlotte stands her ground, shocking Theo with her newfound bravery. She warns him to stay away, but Theo just laughs, twirling her hair glassily. He's risking his life for Elle and finds Charlotte's love to be pathetically weak. He mocks her for not being ready to die for the princess's sake. He declares his obsession, ready to embrace death for Elle. What a terrifyingly loyal knight. Theo exits the carriage only to be confronted by Charlotte's knight, André. Threats fly as Theo cryptically labels Charlotte a kidnapper before vanishing into the night. What's with this family? Back at the order, Theo finds his comrades in total chaos. The 𝓬𝓫 had the nerve to mock the knights right in their own backyard. A taunting message is left on the wall, dragging the order's pride through the mud. Elle and Theo are exhausted, hunting for clues within the thief's strange, colorful dye. Their violent interrogation methods backfire, leaving them with zero leads and a lot of frustration. Theo scoffs at the commoner thief, claiming the locals are protecting one of their own. Laverne's gaze turns sharp. "And what's wrong with being a commoner?" she asks coldly. Later, Elle reveals the truth. Laverne herself rose from the very class Theo insulted. She warns him against such arrogance and tells him to apologize to his comrade. Theo heads back to the estate, preparing his weapons for the upcoming high-stakes party. The gala looms, reminding Elle that she'll face her ex-fiancé and his new lover. She recalls the empty years spent pleasing him. As she turns away, Theo stops her. He kneels, kissing her hand. "Use me, master. I am your weapon to command." Cupping his face, she thanks him. With such a loyal knight, she'll face anything. The commander holds an emergency meeting, desperate to trap the 𝓬𝓫 at the ball. Morris realizes the truth. A knight would have been stained by that specific dye. His lethal aura shifts, leaving Morris desperate to understand what changed. Suddenly, grass sprouting through stone cracks triggers a chilling, dark realization. Jacques fumes upon discovering Enzo hid their invitations to the royal gala. This Enzo brat is suspicious, radiating a truly sinister, creepy vibe. He warns Jacques that attending will only lead to cruel public mockery. Jacques defends his hero, while Morris prepares for a capture at the party. Yet, finding one man in this sea of nobility is nearly impossible. Screams erupt as Theodore enters dangerously handsome and heart-stoppingly dashing. That entrance is a crime. Morris tries talking to Theo, but gets distracted. There, Laverne radiates divine beauty in her breathtaking, elegant gown. Music. Stunned, he turns back to Theo, whose focus has shifted elsewhere entirely. Glaring at the traitors, Theo prepares a spectacle until Morris urges patience. Nobles and commoners alike are now swept up in the grand celebration. Finally, Elle arrives, and she isn't wearing a traditional gown at all. Clad in the 13th moon uniform, she kneels before the princess. Music. Requesting the first dance, she leaves Princess Pippin absolutely giddy with delight. Onlookers marvel at Elle's princely charm while the princess savor the attention. The princess casts a devious smirk toward that wretched, hated couple. Elle's revenge is clear to utterly eclipse them with her blinding brilliance. Theo watches Elle reclaim her name before maidens swarm her for dances. Chaos erupts as ladies fight over her, forcing Elle to promise everyone. Music. Charlotte approaches next. Theo marvels at being ignored for the first time. Morris explains that only Charlotte has remained a loyal pillar for Elle. Seeing Charlotte's smug smirk, Theo realizes this is her sweet, calculated payback. Theo prepares to reclaim his master, but notices Morris is dazed again. A bold stranger approaches Laverne, asking for a dance. Theo shoves Morris toward Laverne just as Adelaide's signature melody begins playing. Adelaide drags Francois onto the floor, desperate. Elle watches them coldly. Shunning petty spite, Elle asks Theo if she may use him instead. He whispers, "Give me an order, master," kneeling in total submission. Claiming him as her own weapon, they command the dance floor. Frustration boils as Elle's gaze betrays her, drifting back toward Francois. Theo demands her focus, then flinches at the tears on her cheeks. Her facade breaks. A piece of her heart still clings to him. Theo pulls her close, shielding her vulnerability against his strong chest. "Weep freely," he whispers. "I'll hide you." His devotion is unmatched. Haunted by decades of love, she asks if time truly heals wounds. Theo kisses her forehead, declaring she has the world's handsomest dog now. He's undeniably gorgeous, but Elle is left utterly flustered by his boldness. Francois is fuming, watching Elle look so comfortable in Theo's arms. He expected her eternal devotion and has the audacity to feel betrayed. He's so self-centered. "You're nothing special, pal. Step aside." Humiliated as Francois's eyes wander, Adelaide storms out in a jealous rage. She thought the broken engagement would destroy Elle, but she was wrong. On the balcony, Adelaide plots Elle's downfall, poisoning a glass. "Stop her. Don't you dare." Just then, Elle steps onto the balcony to confront her. The deceitful woman smirks, claiming she was also seeking Elle. Meanwhile, outside the gala, a total stranger approaches Laverne, claiming he's searched forever just to spend one final moment with her. But before she can even utter a word, a panicked Morris arrives, frantically checking if she's touched any alcohol. Laverne quickly denies it. Morris sighs in relief. Apparently, a drunk Laverne is a recipe for absolute disaster. It turns out she becomes a serial confessor, hitting on Duke Morris 56 times already. She's utterly mortified. Shaking off the embarrassment, they head inside to finally begin their high-stakes mission. 56 times? Yikes. No more wine for her. Elsewhere, Theodore is racing through the crowds. He knows if he doesn't reach Elle soon, Adele will strike with something truly lethal. Ignoring the swooning noblewomen, he searches desperately. On the terrace, Elle and Adele face off. The air turns frigid as Elle finally decides to break the suffocating silence. She spins a dark tale of a princess living in luxury while her subjects beg for death. Adele's blood boils. Why? Because that wretched princess in the story is her. She is the hidden sixth daughter of Aquitaine, a kingdom currently rotting from within. Relentless attacks have left her people broken, proving just how hollow their kingdom has become. Aquitaine fell in the war because its citizens lost the will to protect a failing crown. Adele's rage explodes. She screams that her bloodline was ruined by the former Countess 𝓬𝓬𝓲, all for refusing a marriage. Watching Adele crumble, Elle realizes Theodore was right. This woman has always harbored a deadly grudge. It's a bitter sting, being betrayed by the one person you called a friend. Elle keeps her cool, explaining the former countess acted for the sake of the many. She wanted to govern Aquitaine only to save the starving people from their king's crushing taxes. Trembling with pure, unadulterated venom, Adele bellows that her people only suffered more because of 𝓬𝓬𝓲's selfish and arrogant desires. Her voice dies in her throat when Elle reveals the staggering debt still weighing them down. After that brutal war, the House of 𝓬𝓬𝓲 spent a fortune trying to rebuild the ruined city. 3 generations later, Elle is still paying for that mercy. 𝓬𝓬𝓲 never stopped funding their recovery. Absolute shock washes over Adele's face as her worldview shatters. She had no idea the House of 𝓬𝓬𝓲 was drowning in debt for her sake. Still, she masks her malice with a fake apology, pretending to regret her outbursts. What a snake. But Elle? Ever the saint, Elle tells Adele she wants to clear the air and start over. She truly cherished Adele as her first real friend and desperately wants to believe in her. Adele doubles down on her poison plot, acting reformed. But Elle isn't as naive as she looks. 10 years together taught her everything, like how Adele nervously fidgets with her hair when she's lying. Holding the tainted glass, Elle delivers a final, chilling message to her treacherous friend. She whispers that she never once doubted their bond. You can't hide the truth from her, Adele. Just as the glass reaches her lips, Theodore bursts onto the scene like a vengeful shadow. He watches as Adele panics and smashes the glass away. She screams her hatred. Theodore's eyes turn murderous. He draws his blade, ready to execute Adele on the spot, but Elle's voice rings out. She commands her dangerous knight to stand down. He is stunned by her mercy, yet obeys instantly. Despite the assassination attempt, Elle refuses to shed blood. Her kindness is his greatest mystery. Adele, you're not worthy of the mercy your master just granted you. At the buffet, Enzo is in food heaven. But as Jacques minds the kids, Enzo spots something. Enzo eyes the mysterious bottle, unaware it is liquid fire. Suddenly, Elle intervenes, decreeing he is far too young to drink. Her sharp gaze falls upon the man standing beside him. She greets Jacques warmly, but meets only a wall of ice. Undeterred, She vows to eventually melt his frozen, stubborn heart. Amidst her warmth, Theodore's arrival sparks a sudden roar of joy. Children swarm him instantly. The man is a magnet for souls. Duty calls, but a piercing scream shatters the festive air. A theft is declared, granting her the excuse to seal exits. Outside, Francois shadows Adele, his heart heavy with growing doubt. He demands answers, but Adele mocks his lingering yearning for Elle. She scorns his love, claiming true devotion never hesitates or wavers. Francois stands stunned, baffled by her sudden and venomous transformation. He thought her a saint, foolishly blind to her hidden thorns. Her mask shatters. She was never his perfect, peaceful doll. Love was a lie. He was merely a discarded, broken pawn. She vanishes, leaving him shattered by her cold-blooded, cruel truth. Both now bleed from the wounds of their own betrayals. Hidden in shadows, Laverne and Morris witness the treachery unfold. Adele's malice is clear, yet they must remain silent tonight. Morris restrains her just as a banana peel strikes her head. She spots the culprit and hurls the fruit back furiously. The stranger descends, pale with shock at her fierce aura. He is Andre, her long-lost childhood friend from the past. Memories of the fallen Mohel merchant house flood her mind. Joy fades as she recalls his family's tragic, final ruin. He smiles, claiming Lady Charlotte is now his master. Morris suspects the clumsy act was a calculated, tactical distraction. Doubts linger as a frantic night brings dire, urgent news. The true Laverne has finally entered the grand, crowded ballroom. Chaos erupts as the elite realize their treasures have vanished. Elle commands her knights to strip the guests' dark secrets. A haughty noble snaps, striking a knight with pure arrogance. He bellows about status, fueling fires of deep commoner resentment. The elite grumble, insulted to be searched like common thieves. The princess grins as the gala turns into a nightmare. Elle's blood boils. She prepares a brutal, wine-soaked lesson. She douses the noble and slams his face onto wood. She revokes his protection, leaving him prey to the shadows. She grants an ultimatum: refuse the search and survive alone. The rot of the aristocracy is truly sickening to behold. Even the princess is robbed, forcing Elle's hand further. Stealing from royalty is a death sentence in this kingdom. Theodore finds a weeping Francois, and sparks of fury ignite. Francois sneers, branding him a shadow who will always lose. Theodore's fury boils over as he pummels Francois, grinding his heel into his pathetic face. Amidst Francois's agonized wails, Theo delivers a chilling ultimatum: vanish forever, or face a far worse fate. This beast hides behind a puppy-like mask. Meanwhile, back at the gala, Elle remains paralyzed by the chaos. She assumes the second floor offers sanctuary, but a deadly miscalculation is about to be revealed. Suddenly, a finger points through the crowd. "There is the thief!" the man bellows, accusing young Enzo. Enzo pleads innocence, but the witness claims he saw the boy lurking near the princess's dress. The plot thickens. What dark secrets are hidden behind these layers of deception? Guards seize the trembling Enzo as Jacques desperately screams for the boy's release. Elle hesitates to intervene. Haunted by the memory of Enzo's former life as a common pickpocket, doubt clouds her judgment. Is Enzo a victim, or is he truly the criminal they claim? "Execute him now," the princess commands, leaving the entire ballroom in absolute shock. Even the seasoned knights recoil. Why would the princess demand such a hasty and brutal death sentence? Bound by duty, Elle must prepare the blade. Enzo bows his head, surrendering to his cruel fate. As the steel rises, a voice shatters the silence. Could this mysterious savior be the true Zephyr? Jacques stands tall, his voice dripping with venomous disdain for their shallow, noble justice. He exposes their hypocrisy. They would kill an orphan without thought. Behold, the real Zephyr has arrived. With nights closing in, he makes a final gamble. His life for the location of the jewels. Elle remains unfazed, but before she can strike, Enzo's desperate hands grab her, begging for mercy. Chaos erupts as other street urchins swarm the knights, buying precious seconds for their leader. Elle tasks Theodore with the hunt, while commoners form a human shield, aiding Jacques' escape. Just before fleeing, he fires an arrow, bringing the massive chandelier crashing down. The princess is always the knight's priority. Heart-pounding, Jacques vanishes into the night. Survival is his only option. He cannot fall here. He carries the hopes of the downtrodden. To be captured now would mean the end for them. Under a sudden downpour, he reaches the exit, only to find Theodore waiting like a deadly shadow. "How?" he gasps. Then Morris emerges from the darkness with a sinister, knowing smirk. It was a trap. Morris had calculated every move, from the ball to this very alleyway. As glass shatters, the princess is plunged into a hellish flashback, her mind fracturing from the trauma. She collapses, hands pressed tightly against her ears to block out the screaming echoes of the past. Only one name escapes her trembling lips: 𝓐𝓬𝓬𝓲𝓽𝓪. She desperately craves her knight's protection. 𝓐𝓬 arrives like a guardian angel, and the princess clings to her with frantic desperation. Far away, Theodore and Morris have successfully boxed in the fleeing rebel, Jacques. Theo's sword hilt ends the conversation. Jacques later awakens in a cold cell, facing 𝓐𝓬's interrogation, but the boy refuses to cooperate. 𝓐𝓬 plays her trump card, the orphanage. Enraged, Jacques spits the word hypocrite at her. His insults fall on deaf ears. 𝓐𝓬's soul belongs to her duty and her fragile princess. 𝓐𝓬 orders the prisoner's transfer, masking her true intentions under the guise of a harsh penalty. But the gallows never come. Jacques is drafted into the elite Order of November as a knight. Within those walls, 𝓐𝓬 can shield him from the vengeful nobles who want his head. She recognized the raw talent and the selfless heart beating within the young thief's chest. Jacques is stunned to learn 𝓐𝓬 sacrificed her own fortune and took on debt for him. Truly, he is lucky 𝓐𝓬 was the one who caught him. Tears fall as his worldview shatters. Why would a noble go to such lengths for him? As night falls, a different kind of tension fills the air. 𝓐𝓬 is visibly nervous. Her obsessed knight, Theodore, is staying the night, his intense gaze never leaving his master. 𝓐𝓬's heart thunders as she leads a lethal man into her most private sanctuary for the first time. The bathroom door creaks open. Relief turns to a searing blush the moment her eyes land on him. Who wouldn't lose their breath seeing such a devastatingly handsome knight wearing only a thin bathrobe? He is pure fire. Theodore refuses the floor, insisting that his master share the bed with him tonight. His protective obsession won't let his master sleep elsewhere. 𝓐𝓬 lies beside him, her nerves on edge. Reflecting on his lethal devotion, she feels a sudden urge to reach out and thank her mysterious protector. With a shaky breath, she sits up to face the man who haunts her dreams. Theodore rises like a predator, confessing that forbidden, naughty thoughts of her are keeping him wide awake. 𝓐𝓬 turns scarlet. Theodore leans close, demanding to know her heart before he crosses a line. She wavers, unable to deny the magnetic pull of the dangerous man standing right before her. Then Theodore claims her lips in a sudden, breathtaking kiss. The moment we have waited for is here. Theodore swears to cherish this memory forever. Even if his master decides to cast him away tomorrow, he longs to hold her for eternity. Their souls finally collide during their first night of passion. Morning brings a cold bed. Overwhelmed, 𝓐𝓬 fled to the office at 4 a.m. to escape. Deep within the office walls, she masks her story as a friend's secret, but Theodore suddenly storms in with Morris at his side. Panicked, 𝓐𝓬 leaps straight out the window, but her obsessed knight lunges after her without hesitation. Seeing her desperate escape, Theodore fears that his master truly hated the intimacy they shared last night. He coldly suggests they forget everything. His words pierce her soul, leaving behind a hollow, agonizing emptiness. Is it really that easy for him? Suddenly, Theodore pulls her back into a fierce, desperate embrace. A falling blade nearly ends her life. Theo pulls her close, as dark memories flood his soul. He will never let his master vanish again. But a new mystery lurks. What truly happened back then? Under a bright sky, a mysterious orange-haired girl arrives at Charlotte's manor. They beam with joy, pleading to join the elite fan club, 𝓬𝓬. Theodore finds 𝓐𝓬's office buried in paperwork. Is this her strange new command? Is this petty revenge? All because he told her to forget their fateful night? Her denial only confirms it. She claims she isn't that childish. That pouting face says it all. Theodore smirks, knowing she doesn't regret their kiss. He longs to embrace his master, but he mustn't scare her away. Their playful tension is shattered when a knight brings news of a gruesome murder. At the scene, horror awaits. The victim is that same orange-haired girl from the manor. Theo is visibly shaken. As 𝓐𝓬 offers comfort, he grips her hand with desperate force. This isn't like him. She promises her knight that justice will be served quickly. The signature kill and that lone apple. Theodore knows only one monster capable of such cruelty. The one hunting his master, Snow White's wicked queen herself. The orphanage lights up. Jacques returns in his knightly uniform, bringing hope to the children. He checks on them warmly. Is little Enzo still keeping up with his vital treatments? Their master, 𝓐𝓬, has been their guardian angel all this time. Shockingly, the kids knew his secret. They always knew he was Zephyr. Inside the Knight's headquarters, the team hunts for clues hidden within dusty archives. Laverne watches their romance with envy. When will she find a love that burns so bright? But Morris is oblivious to her gaze. Suddenly, Theodore reveals a chilling connection to a past case. Suddenly, Laverne seizes Elle's hand, spiriting her away while Theodore is distracted by Morris. Cloaked in commoner disguises, they slip into the shadows to hunt for vital clues. Uncovering the truth requires stealth. Once Elle reveals her stunning look, Theodore stands utterly spellbound. Elle rarely dons such finery, looking like a breathtaking goddess in her gown. Seizing his arm, Elle commands her dangerous knight to play her devoted lover. Their chemistry is undeniable, yet Elle's true focus is the delicious pastries nearby. Shaking off her daze, she asks Theo if this lead is truly legitimate. Theo leans in, whispering that Sophie's regular haunt won't fail them this time. As they settle in, Theo laments that her mind remains on work during their date. Suddenly, Theo begins hand-feeding her, making her heart race with unexpected tension. Elle's mind spirals at the sheer audacity of her supposedly loyal subordinate. Swallowing her pride, she accepts the bite just to keep the night quiet. She tries to feed him back, but Theo fumbles, getting icing on his hand. He shamelessly licks it clean before marking her nose with a sweet dollop. Claiming it tastes better this way, he leans in and licks her nose clean. What is wrong with him? This night's obsession is crossing every possible line. Elsewhere, Laverne warns Jacques of the shadows looming from a 12-year-old murder. Their investigation is interrupted by Andre, who has Monica completely under his spell. Monica invites Andre for dinner, but Laverne boldly crashes the meeting. Jacques begins sniffing the air suspiciously, sensing something off about the man. Andre possesses no scent at all, a chilling void that leaves Jacques unsettled. Finding their antics amusing, Monica extends the dinner invitation to everyone. Andre politely bows out, claiming pressing business requires his immediate attention. Realizing Monica's highborn status, Jacques hides under his hood to avoid trouble. Sensing his discomfort, Laverne ditches the dinner to follow her companion. Back at the cafe, Elle and Theo collide with a ghost from the past. Within the palace, the princess is blindsided by the Duchess's unannounced arrival. The Duchess gushes about the impending marriage she suspects between Elle and Theo. The princess merely smiles, already sensing the underlying truth of the matter. It's clear the Duchess has mistaken their secret mission for a romantic tryst. Suddenly, the Duchess asks a chilling question about the lack of apples. Recalling the fruit found at the murder scene, the princess's blood runs cold. She can no longer stomach apples, while Francois stands frozen seeing Elle again. He pathetically begs for forgiveness, desperate to reclaim the woman he discarded. Theo's killing intent flares, his teeth grinding at the sight of this insect. Before Theo can strike, Elle ignores her ex, dragging her knight away instantly. Theo worries for her, but Elle simply laughs at her ex's utter stupidity. Seeing his pathetic state brings her a strange sense of dark satisfaction. Overwhelmed by her smile, Theo aches to pull his master into an embrace. As Elle spots a ripple in the water, they finally reunite with the others. Laverne teases them about their date, but Elle insists it was purely mission-focused. She commends Jacques for his loyalty and for staying on his best behavior. When she pats his head, Theo waits expectantly for his master's praise too. Feeling the awkward tension, Elle quickly announces their departure for the night. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the evening, Andre gazes at Lady Charlotte, his dangerous obsession hidden behind a soft smile. Feigning sadness at their parting, he begs for a final embrace to soothe him. She pulls him close, unaware of the predator she is holding so tight. While the world sleeps in blissful ignorance, a desperate soul screams into the abyss, clawing fruitlessly against an inevitable, cold demise. Morning light brings only horror for Laverne. Her complaints vanish instantly when Mrs. Galley arrives, wailing that young Monica has been slaughtered. Deep within the war room, Ella gathers with Maurice, Theo, and the commander. The details are grim. 15-year-old Monica Gailey was found lifeless at 6 a.m. Laverne discovered the tragedy and immediately sounded the alarm. Shaken to her core, Laverne begs for a reprieve. Losing her precious childhood friend has left her spirit utterly broken and traumatized. Shadows lengthen over the West District. 2 brutal homicide cases have struck the heart of the city in just 7 days. The chilling signature suggests a single predator is at work. Each victim met their end through the exact same sadistic, calculated method. Bruised throats tell a tale of manual strangulation. Their sickening calling card? A single, crisp green apple left at every gruesome crime scene. However, Monica's death feels hauntingly personal. She was murdered within the supposed safety of her own sanctuary. With no signs of a break-in, the truth is terrifying. The monster was likely someone she knew and trusted completely. Theo connects the dots with chilling precision. This isn't random. A queen is meticulously reenacting the twisted, bloody fable of Snow White. The room falls silent. This queen terminology leaves the entire investigation team gripped by a sense of profound confusion. Theo uses the term to describe a theatrical mastermind who is conducting a serial bloodbath across their entire district. The script is set. The queen uses a poisoned apple to claim Snow White. This killer hunts young girls, leaving bitten fruit as trophies. 7 deaths are required to complete the fairy tale. 5 innocent lives still hang in the balance, and the clock is ticking. It appears the serial killer is trapped in a dark, twisted Disney fantasy. As the meeting concludes, Ella rushes to protect the princess, but Theo's firm hand suddenly halts her frantic progress. Theo warns that her panic will only fuel the princess's terror, making her feel like the next sacrificial lamb on the altar. The apple is a direct taunt, a cruel mockery of the girl designated as Snow White. The queen is playing a psychological game. Elle freezes in realization. As the princess's sworn guardian knight, her impulsive rage nearly played right into the enemy's hands. She almost became a puppet. Bowing her head, she thanks Theo for keeping her grounded during this storm of escalating madness. Suddenly, Theo's serious mask slips. He leans in close, his eyes sparkling with a strange, playful obsession that borders on madness. He begs for his master to praise him more. She simply brushes him off, offering a quiet dinner instead of compliments. Elsewhere, Laverne collapses on the floor, drowning in the suffocating grief of her childhood friend's violent and sudden passing. Lost in memories of happier times, a sudden murmur of voices from outside her house breaks her tragic, lonely reverie. Opening the door, she finds Elle and the boys carrying groceries. For a brief moment, the heavy darkness in her heart retreats. After their meal, Maurice discovers a mysterious letter. Laverne confirms it belonged to Monica before the tragedy occurred. Elle's eyes widen the stationery matches evidence found by the water. She demands to know the purpose of the strange card inside. It turns out to be a VIP membership for Lady Charlotte's Ale, a very exclusive social circle. As Elle looks clueless, Theo playfully twirls her hair. "It means always I love Elle," he purrs. It's her own fan club. However, the coincidence is too sharp. Both murdered girls were prominent members of this obsessive cult, dedicated entirely to Elle herself. Laverne drops a bombshell. Dark rumors haunt the Lorraine estate regarding a forbidden room that even the most loyal maids fear. Whispers of blood-curdling screams are said to echo from behind those heavy, locked doors late at night. To unmask the truth, Elle must endure the ultimate humiliation. She orders the team to infiltrate the AIL fan club immediately. They enter a den of bubbly fanatics, only to find a shrine covered in Elle's face. The obsession is truly staggering. There's even a life-sized pillow. Charlotte arrives, her eyes narrowing in shock at the sight of Theo standing among the girls. She demands his immediate expulsion. No men are allowed within the sacred, private sanctuary of the lady's devoted followers. Theo rises, but as he passes, his voice drops to a lethal chill. He whispers that he knows her club is dying. He taunts her, noting how suspicious it is that a highborn lady lacks a protective knight during such a murderous crisis. Then comes the killing blow. Her own guardian knight is currently the prime suspect in their bloody homicide investigation. The color drains from Charlotte's face. She stands frozen, looking as though death itself just whispered a secret in her ear. Back at headquarters, Elle is surprised by Theo's return. He sheepishly admits that his charms failed to get him past the door. Then her eyes land on the massive, human-sized pillow he's clutching. It's a perfect, terrifying likeness of her own face. Theo declares he'll keep it in his bed forever, but a blushing, furious Ella shreds the cursed thing to pieces instantly. Locked in the carriage, Theo's gaze lingers on Elle as dark thoughts consume him. The killings are accelerating. Can he truly protect her? He yearns to confess the truth, but fears her rejection. Yet, he knows her soul. Even if she doubts him, she will try to understand his heart. The confession dies on his lips as they arrive. They stand before the chilling silence of a cemetery. Elle had built monuments for the nameless victims, a final mercy for those the world forgot. Moved by her kindness, Theo vows to become the shield for her every sorrow. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the palace, Laverne slips away from the meeting. She ignores the corridor and hunts for a forbidden room. Charlotte blocks her path, but Laverne is undeterred. She forces the heavy door open at last. The room is a shrine. Gifts and a haunting portrait of Elle and Charlotte reveal a dark secret. This isn't just friendship. It's a terrifying, soul-deep obsession. The blood moon rises. The princess trembles in her sleep, haunted by ghosts of 5 years ago. Back then, she felt like a prisoner. She begged Charlotte for a single moment of freedom. Charlotte smiled wickedly and opened the cage. She promised the knight Andre would be her guardian. But the princess fled alone. She wandered the city streets, unaware of the waiting trap. Kidnapped and broken, Elle saved her life. She wakes now, screaming for her savior's touch. She looks beside her and breathes. Elle is there, a silent guardian in the dark. Theo eats in silence with the Duchess. His mind is trapped in a past life where Elle died. He is a man obsessed with fate. He will not let her perish this time. Distracted by duty, he accidentally agrees to announce his wedding to Elle to the entire Knight headquarters. The investigation into the slaughter intensifies. Andre's name is cleared at last. The heavy chains of suspicion finally fall away from the Knight. The hunt moves east. He must intercept the ghost ships used for human trafficking. Elle and Theo join the Duchess for lunch, unaware of the trap of affection being set. The Duchess sees love where there is only duty. As Elle tries on wedding silk, Theo recalls the past. He remembers the massacre of 5 years ago. Girls were slaughtered exactly like this. The past was just a rehearsal, a practice run for a much more devastating master plan. Elle emerges, draped in the Duchess's wedding lace. Theo's heart stops. She is a goddess of beauty. The sight breaks the Duchess. She clings to the hope that her long-lost husband will return. Theo delivers the cold truth. His father is dead and will never return to her arms. He draws a line in the dirt. He and Elle are merely master and subordinate. He apologizes as they leave, but Elle is changed. The coldness has forced her to reflect. Emotions have clouded her blade. Theo confesses his devotion, admitting he regrets nothing between them. It is too late. To her, his heart is just another game of strategy and manipulation. Tables are buried in lists. Elle has identified every minor girl who could be the next target. The Knights are outnumbered. They cannot be everywhere at once to stop the coming bloodbath. Theo scans the names and freezes. A forgotten memory from his past life sparks to life. Surnames are missing, but his instinct is sharp. He knows exactly who the killer wants next. He gathers his unit. The Order of November will predict the next strike with lethal precision. The commander storms in, eyes blazing with fury. Orders from the top have ignited his rage. No more mercy. He demands hellish training and total devotion until the killer is caught. They are confined together. Theo agrees instantly, seeking a chance to reclaim his master's heart. Elle prepares for sleep, but a shadow occupies her bed, a presence she did not expect. At first, she assumes it is Laverne seeking a place to rest. But as the man turns, her heart skips. It is Theo, smoldering, dangerous, and impossibly handsome. I truly want to steal that night for myself. Illegal slave ships are discovered by Commander Blanche, just as a lady in purple negotiates with a sailor. He approaches the woman, noting that the sailor treats her with profound, unwavering respect. She possesses expert naval knowledge. Blanche demands the owner's name, unaware that the very woman standing before him is the master of this ship. Meanwhile, the commander arrives looking for Maurice. In a flash, Theo pulls Elle into the shadows to keep her hidden. Suddenly, the commander notices Theo's protruding uniform. Tension rises as he suspects something or someone is being concealed beneath his coat. They cannot be discovered, or a massive scandal will surely erupt. Fortunately, the commander is quite oblivious. He laughs it off, jokingly suggesting that Theo should simply exercise more to lose weight. Elle prepares to leave, but Theo stops her. He desperately needs to explain the inner turmoil he has suffered for days. Elle demands why he calls her master and why he vanished after the night ritual. Her heart is filled with agonizing questions. However, Theo remains painfully silent. Elle concludes that if he lacks trust in her, she cannot offer him her trust in return. Her mind is a storm of confusion, but Theo's gaze is sincere. He pleads for her to give their bond one more chance. He presses her hand against his racing heart, asking if she will try again to see that he harbors absolutely no regrets. Following an intense talk with Blanche, the woman realizes a foul plot is unfolding and decides to investigate. On the terrace, a heavy, suffocating silence hangs between Maurice and Laverne. Laverne attempts to break the ice with conversation, which triggers a landslide of nervous chatter from Maurice. Laverne wonders why he refuses to look her directly in the eyes. She steps forward but suddenly slips. Fortunately, Maurice's lethal reflexes kick in, and he catches her before she hits the floor. She feels his skin burning with heat and fears a fever. Laverne rushes to fetch some cool water for his recovery. However, Maurice feels an overwhelming, strange sensation and flees the room in total confusion. Elsewhere, Elle and Theo lean in for a kiss when footsteps echo nearby. While trying to hide, they both tumble to the ground. She stammers an apology, but seeing her distress, Theo believes she truly loathes him and allows her to walk away. Suddenly, Elle locks her hands behind his neck and pulls him into a fierce, soul-stirring kiss. Theo's joy vanishes when Elle apologizes afterward. She heartlessly asks him to pretend that their passionate moment never even occurred. Burdened by her heavy destiny, she cannot take responsibility for him. By morning, a wall of coldness rises between the two lovers. Theo becomes a furnace of rage, acting with uncharacteristic rudeness toward every knight he encounters today. Thankfully, 𝓚𝓮𝓪𝓭 intervenes, announcing that she will be Theo's new partner, while Maurice is assigned to accompany 𝓐𝓮 instead. From that moment on, Maurice feels a piercing, jealous gaze drilling into his back from the obsessed Theo. While walking through the slums, they reminisce about 𝓐𝓮's combat prowess. Suddenly, her instincts flare. Someone is stalking them from the shadows. Her intuition is spot on. Several thugs emerge, their greedy eyes fixed on the valuable silver pins pinned to their noble uniforms. She shields the defenseless Maurice behind her. Drawing herself up, she prepares to teach these street rats a lesson in pain. The princess ruthlessly shreds Francois's documents, scattering his hard work like confetti, because she absolutely detests his treacherous, cheating ways. Shortly after, an official invitation arrives from the queen for lunch, but she refuses the royal command. Her schedule is already set for a visit to the Order of November. Hearing this, Francois begs to join her, swearing on his honor that he will be on his absolute best behavior. Anticipating delicious drama between 𝓐𝓮 and Theo, she agrees. Back in the slums, 𝓐𝓮 engages the leader of the thugs. Suddenly, an attacker lunges at Maurice, and with a single blow, he is sent tumbling into the dirt. The thugs tremble with terror at what they have done and vanish into the darkness before the situation escalates further. Afterward, 𝓐𝓮 tells him to stand, knowing his injury was an act. She then discovers a pouch bearing the merchant company logo. 𝓐𝓮 suspects these men were actually sailors in disguise, given the company's iron grip over the bustling West District territory. Under normal circumstances, these men would have no reason to steal. Since the murder of Monica Gali, the guild has been in ruins, and these men were likely unpaid for their labor. Suddenly, Maurice realizes that Anne Sophie, another merchant's daughter, was also a victim of these calculated murders. Every year, guilds bid for Eastern continent trade. It seems the queen isn't just targeting the princess, but trying to sabotage the entire empire's economy. On the other hand, 𝓚𝓮 and Theo's first task is washing dishes. But Theo's jealousy is so overwhelming that he ends up shattering plates one after another with his lethal, crushing grip. 𝓚𝓮 smirks, sensing that Theo's romantic pursuit has miserably failed. Haunted by 𝓐𝓮's touch, Theo's silence only fuels 𝓚𝓮's burning curiosity. Suddenly, a knight slams the heavy doors wide open. She's frantic to announce the princess, oblivious to the simmering drama. The princess teases Theo playfully, then pouts like a child for 𝓐𝓮. Yet, Theo's focus remains locked on France's suspicious and sudden appearance. Watching the recruits, the princess recalls that boy's lethal knightly potential. News of 𝓐𝓮's return at the gate sends Charlotte sprinting ahead. 𝓐𝓮 leaps down like a shadow, while Charlotte collapses in shock. Maurice swoops in, sweeping the princess up in a protective bridal carry. But as he turns, he meets 𝓚𝓮's icy and judgmental gaze. "This looks bad, Maurice. You better have a very good excuse." Theo sees through the scheme, snatching the secret letter from his hand. Memories of 𝓐𝓮's execution for treason flash through Theo's tortured mind. That cursed letter was the first step toward her tragic, bloody end. An ambush by House Blue Owl waited in the dark midnight shadows. Back then, everyone knew 𝓐𝓮 was drowning in the pain of heartbreak. They branded her a traitor who opened the gates for the enemy. But the truth is hidden, and these new words change everything. Francois sneers, calling Theo the very man 𝓐𝓮 would loathe most. Theo's rage explodes, pinning the rat against the sharp cliff's edge. Francois mocks them, claiming polar opposites can never truly become one. Do magnets not pull together? Suddenly, 𝓐𝓮's cold presence finally appears. Seizing the moment, Francois plays the victim with pathetic fake tears. 𝓐𝓮's gaze turns cold, disgusted by Theo's penchant for solving problems alone. Her words pierce him like steel. An aide who disobeys is utterly useless. The final blow falls. He must leave the order by sunset. Heartless, 𝓐𝓮 shreds the letter, leaving Theo alone in the dust. Nightmare visions of Theo's bloody hands haunt Charlotte's restless, dark sleep. She wakes to find 𝓐𝓮, whose deep sadness is written in her eyes. Perhaps it is better this way. Theo can never truly have her. Charlotte chokes on a confession, fearing 𝓐𝓮's potential hatred and rejection. 𝓐𝓮's soft laughter warms the room as she promises a royal visit. But the princess knows 𝓐𝓮's heavy duties always come before her heart. The National Foundation Day approaches, bringing foreign shadows with its arrival. Though peace has held for years, the tides are finally shifting. Fearing disaster, the princess begs 𝓐𝓮 to guard the bidding process. As the carriage rolls, Theo stands there like a broken, waiting shadow. He begs for forgiveness, swearing his very life to her once more. He clings to her from behind, desperate not to be discarded. At the meeting, the void in Theo's seat haunts Elle's guilty mind. A week passes, and the ache of his absence becomes truly unbearable. She gave the order, but her heart is screaming for him. Maurice tries to say goodbye, assuming the end has finally come. Theo's eyes burn with obsession. This is far from his last day. Maurice notices Elle's soul seems miles away lately. He refuses to let her drown in this burden alone. He joins Theo's solitary hunt. The news of the Morrow heir's death last night changes the entire game. Theo predicts the Queen's move. She'll strike before the bidding, fueled by her dark Eastern trade ties. While walking, Maurice recalls the sanctuary of 16-year-old 𝓷𝓲𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓂. The girl is in grave danger. Even with the November Knights on guard, Theo demands entry. He won't stop until she's found. A starstruck child reveals a chilling secret. Her sister left to meet a man with skin like death. Without a heartbeat's delay, Theo charges into the darkness. The hunt for the missing girl begins now. He finds himself standing before the guillotine. The grim sight where Elle's life ended in her past. The memory of her dying in his arms still burns. Failure now would be an unforgivable sin. Slaughtering everyone would be so much easier. He was once a demon who lived for the blade, but he swore to honor her wishes. Still, the Queen is a monster who preys on the innocent. No matter what twisted web the Queen is weaving, he vows to shield Elle from her reach. Suddenly, a ghostly figure creeps from the cold shadows. Theo is waiting for this strike. He drops a pippin apple, the Queen's signature left at every murder. Crushing the fruit, his voice turns lethal. "Have you already ended Audrey's life?" he growls. The man stammers a desperate denial. Audrey is a childhood friend. He could never spill her blood. Then, the coward stings him with words. "Nothing you do will bring Duke 𝓤𝓮𝓪𝓵𝓂 back to life." Terror grips the man's soul, yet Theo's blade stays still. He's stunned to be alive in this presence. Theo's fist trembles with rage. He reminds the traitor of Charlotte's mercy when he was astray. A dark suspicion takes root. Is Charlotte truly the mastermind behind these horrific, blood-stained cases? He threatens to hunt Charlotte down, but the man pledges his life to his master. "Wait, Charlotte?" Theo delivers a cold reality check. The man is a mere ant compared to his overwhelming power. Laverne arrives with soul-crushing news. Little Mao is dead, and the High Council has seized Elle. This is madness. Elle would never harm a child. This is a calculated, heartless frame job. The target shifted. Audrey was spared, but Elle was shackled and dragged away 2 hours ago. Even the princess was bypassed. The high officials moved with a terrifying legal precision to trap her. They are helpless until Theo saves her. He marches toward the palace like a brewing storm. Inside, the vultures are gathered. They are voting to strip Elle of her rank and title forever. They accuse her of foul conspiracy. Elle remains silent, their venomous words failing to pierce her armor. She mourns the lost child instead. She knows the Queen is weaving a web of lethal lies. As they mock her, the doors explode open. "I've come to take my master back," Theo roars. Heavens, his lethal beauty is as sharp as the sword he carries. His blade flashes, shredding a dismissal card. Kneeling, he offers his hand while the council screams threats. Elle realizes the absolute insanity of this moment. Logic screams to stay back, yet her soul yearns to reach out and take his hand. Guards try to block him, but his murderous aura freezes them. One step, and heads will roll. A stern voice warns of no second chances. This act of rebellion will carry a heavy price. Theo simply smirks. He is an unstoppable force that even the Queen cannot hope to chain down. In the hall, Elle asks why he returned. "I never left," he whispers. "You are my master." She wonders how they reached this point. The truth is a feeling Theo cannot yet put into words. Strangers turned into soulmates. He ponders the fate that bound him to her. Long ago, he was just an innocent boy, picking bright flowers for his mother's smile. But his brother forbade the Lorraines. They didn't just lose his father, they murdered him in cold blood. Grief and rage forged him into a weapon. The boy died, and a cold night was born. He swore never to trust again. Betrayal killed his father, and he won't let history repeat itself. From that moment, Theo became a heartless monster, pushing everyone away until Elle shattered his pride in a legendary duel. Following custom, he treated her to dinner, watching as she pined for a man named Francois. For the first time, the icy night saw a flicker of warmth beneath her cold exterior. At the ceremony, news broke. Elle had applied to join the elite November Knights. Years passed like a blur until a mysterious letter from his father arrived 5 years later. Now a royal guardian, Theo met Elle again, but her cool professionalism left him completely rattled. It was then that Charlotte and Elle finally crossed paths. But Charlotte favored Theo, much to the princess's visible annoyance at the dinner table. Charlotte insisted he stay, as he was the hero who stopped the princess's kidnapping. Theo smirked, claiming that no act of service in this world is ever truly selfless. He was just a tool of the queen's will, serving the princess for 5 long years. Then a fateful letter arrived. A secret meeting at the East Gate on October 8th. Shocking. This was the same letter Francois intended for Elle, sparking a fire of pure rage. Seeking the truth, he opened the gate only to find Elle trapped in a deadly frame-up. Realizing the gravity of the mistake, he sprinted to the dungeon to face her. Elle knew the truth. Theo, having lost his will to live, begged her to save herself. But Elle refused. She had the Blas family legacy and a younger sibling to protect. If the truth ever came out and Theo was taken into custody, she knew he'd simply surrender to the executioner's blade without a single fight. To her, Theo was a man desperately clinging to life, despite his hollow, suicidal denials. As a fellow knight, she vowed to help him find a reason to truly survive. Day after day, Elle endured brutal interrogations over a crime she never committed. In this hellish struggle, she became his world, his nightly visits filled with silent desperation. Elle whispered that as long as he believed in her innocence, her honor would remain untarnished, even if she had to die for his sake. If falling for her meant facing death, he'd embrace that dark fate with open arms. This is that rare, soul-shattering love that only happens once in an eternity. From that night, Theo became her shadow. Listening to her voice through cold iron bars, he confessed that if she vanished, a permanent void would devour his soul forever. The tragedy is unbearable. This memory will haunt his every waking breath until the end. One final time, he begged her to speak the truth before the executioner arrived. But Elle had a different kind of faith. She couldn't imagine leaving him behind. She hoped time would heal him, even if it meant being forgotten by his side. Theo screamed at the heavens for a miracle, and since that day, she became his only master. Returning to the here and now, he grips her hand tight, swearing that he has belonged to her from the very start. As Elle blushes, the crew arrives to celebrate her safe return with a rowdy party. Glass after glass, the alcohol can't touch her. Her mind is elsewhere. Her heart thunders, realizing her joy stems from Theo staying right by her side. Their fingers graze, sparking a fire that leads them out into the cool night air. He whispers that the thought of losing her was a fate worse than death. Elle confesses her own longing, but asks him to return strictly as her loyal aide. Theo wanted more, stepping close to touch her face, vowing to never leave her side. That intense, obsessed gaze is enough to make anyone's heart skip a beat. Their breath mingles as Theo leans in, sealing his devotion with a tender, heart-fluttering kiss. Following that sweet exchange, Elle gently nudges her smitten knight to head inside first. Yet he steals another kiss, whispering he will miss her already, leaving Elle's face burning crimson. Indoors, 𝓚𝓮𝓪 offers a suspicious drink, but Elle instantly floors Theo before he takes a sip. Handing over his room key, Maurice departs while a curious 𝓚𝓮𝓪 joins Elle to talk gossip. Elle dismisses her worries, noting that poor Charlotte barely even remembers what his face looks like. Relieved by the misunderstanding, 𝓚𝓮𝓪 returns to the tavern and downs a full glass in one. Seeing Maurice, she boldly kisses his cheek, making him flush. This couple needs more screen time. Watching him sleep, she wonders if this dangerous knight flirts with every woman he meets. Cherishing their current bond, she leaves a soft parting kiss on his lips before quietly slipping away. But Theo was awake. He struggles with his surging desire, nearly losing control of his dark obsession. Whoa there, Sir Theo. Try to keep that burning passion in check. Elsewhere, Commander Blanche pursues a trafficking ring, smugly sending Elle orders he knows she cannot refuse. As dawn breaks, Elle finds her loyal knight waiting to greet her with a warm smile. Their romance is shattered by Maurice, who hides in shame after his embarrassing antics from yesterday. Desperate to escape the awkwardness, 𝓚𝓮𝓪 kisses Elle's cheek, trying to convince Maurice that her affection is just a friendly habit. We see through you. Finding an opera ticket, Elle realizes she must infiltrate the theater alone. Jacques demands to join, but despite Elle's firm refusal, the boy refuses to stay behind. Hours later, the carriage doors open to reveal our duo transformed into stunning, unrecognizable noble figures. We owe 𝓚𝓮𝓪 a debt for showcasing Theo's lethal charms in this daring new transformation. Charlotte feels a chilling atmosphere as the maids begin treating her with strange, fearful caution. Whispers of a killer targeting her allies spread, making even her own servants fear her presence. Distraught, Charlotte flees to André, who rushes to meet her, panicked by her thin attire. He tenderly drapes his heavy coat over her shoulders, shielding his lady from the biting cold. While Charlotte seeks sword training, Elle and Theo begin their undercover role as secret lovers. Their elaborate disguises are the only way to breach the high-security walls of the opera house. This theater hides a vile auction, though Theo seems quite pleased with their romantic charade. Elle, however, can't stop staring at the dangerously revealing outfit Laverne forced upon her knight. He's nearly shirtless, a sight far too tempting. But at the gates, they are rudely barred entry. Elle's patience finally snaps, and she prepares to unleash her power right there at the entrance. Theo intervenes, pulling her close and claiming his mistress craves fresh entertainment other than himself. Once inside, Elle scans the crowd for Blanche, but the commander is nowhere in sight. Theo growls about his rising jealousy, but a mysterious masked lady suddenly interrupts their moment. Deep within the shadows of the backstage area, a darker plot begins to unfold. A kidnapper arrives with a new prize, and to our horror, the victim is Jacques. As the show begins, the masked woman suggests that Elle belongs in the elite VIP circles. She claims the main floor is worthless. The true twisted spectacle happens in the private rooms. Left alone, Jacques reveals a stolen key. This rebellious boy was never going to follow orders. He slips into the corridors, determined to rescue the other innocent children trapped in this hellhole. He finds a room filled with a sickly scent and rows of children in a deep slumber. Disaster strikes. The masked guards corner Jacques before he can lead the children to safety. They sneer that escape is impossible now that the toxic fumes have taken hold of him. Out in the hall, Elle and Theo bid aggressively, determined to save every child from monsters. Their massive spending earns them a VIP invite, where Elle finally unmasks the mysterious Adelaide. As the lady ascends, Adelaide whispers of a conversation yet to come. Trapped! Their flawless infiltration suddenly hits a cold, iron dead end. Steel hidden beneath silk. Have these monsters sensed the lady's hidden blade? To kill suspicion, they must play lovers, their breaths dangerously intertwined. Their passion sparks a riot, luring the guards into a clever trap. When the doors burst open, the villains find a scandalous scene. Lust replaces doubt. The prey is finally escorted to the inner sanctum. Highborn rot reeks here. Every face belongs to the kingdom's corrupt elite. A pen and card. To order human lives like a vintage wine. Hell is too kind for them. Lady Elle prepares her silent, lethal response. A predator approaches, his eyes crawling over the lady with filthy intent. He offers a better time. Her knight's murderous aura flares like wildfire. Careful, she warns. My dog doesn't play well with pathetic trash. The curtains rise, revealing the tragic, broken prizes of the night. Eastern souls stolen and bound. The VIP horror truly begins now. A mistake? The product delivered is not what the lady demanded. She sought the youngest child, her heart turning into jagged shards of ice. A pregnant victim, 2 lives for 1 price. Pure, unadulterated evil. Here, they don't just sell bodies, they harvest living parts for sport. Nausea strikes. This isn't an auction, it's a house of absolute depravity. Her knight shields her eyes. Master, you don't have to hold back. Whatever blood spills tonight, let them blame your loyal mad dog. A fan pierces an eye. Lady Elle draws steel, commanding a massacre. Jacques awakens. Amidst the chaos, he leads the children toward hope. A guard blocks the path. The escape hits a wall of steel. War rages outside. Jacques smiles. He knows his lady has finally arrived. He strikes. Amidst the flight, a golden secret catches his young eye. The lady dances through blood, a beautiful, deadly vision to her knight. Terror-stricken guards surrender, begging for mercy they never showed others. Go, she orders her knight. She has bloody business on the floor below. Blanche appears. The slaughter is finished, but the tension remains thick. Her knight's blade finds Blanche's throat, a beast protecting his only master. Blanche grins, savoring the lethal pressure of the knight's cold steel. He taunts the mad dog, daring the beast to pierce his heart. Allies rush in, finding their leader dancing on a razor's edge. Lady Elle commands down, and the beast reluctantly hides his fangs. An apology is offered, but the noble's pride demands a heavy price. Know your place, dog, or the grave will claim you soon. A flicker of the past. The interrogation that changed their destinies forever. Worry fades as the mission continues. Jacques trembles in the carriage. Battle-worn, the lady slumbers, leaning comfortably on her knight's loyal shoulder. Jealous? The knight smirks, claiming his rightful place by her side. Gratitude outweighs envy. Jacques owes his soul to the deputy commander. A basement secret revealed a crest that stains the kingdom's very honor. This golden seal. The true architect behind this human hell. Shadows loom as royal blood is suspected in this dark slave trade. The hunt for the traitor begins. Elle stays the night, but as she prepares for a bath, her obsessed knight Theo makes his move. The air turns humid and heavy. Theo boldly suggests they share the steaming bath together. Such audacity! Elle hesitates, but Theo notes her exhaustion with an intense, lingering gaze. He claims she's too weak to wash. Under his spell, she agrees to this scandalous arrangement. His large hands lather her hair with a tenderness that feels far too intimate for a knight. These calloused palms, hands meant for killing, now treat her like the world's most precious treasure. Her heart flutters wildly. Suddenly, he looms over her to keep the soap from her eyes. This sudden proximity is electric, leaving Elle breathless as a deep crimson flush stains her cheeks. "Close your eyes, master," he whispers. As she obeys, his presence draws dangerously close. Her scent intoxicates him, a dream finally realized. But then, a dark memory of the past resurfaces. He recalls a time speaking to her while she was trapped behind cold dungeon bars. They spoke of the queen's trap before knights arrived to drag her to a cruel trial. A sudden splash breaks the trance. Elle pouts, asking why her attendant has suddenly zoned out. Softening, she assumes the day's battles have finally drained even this unstoppable knight's stamina. Fearing his wandering eyes are too obvious, Theo decides to make a swift, dignified exit. Thinking he's offended, Elle reaches out in a panic and tugs on his only cover the towel. Disaster. The fabric gives way instantly, leaving the legendary knight completely exposed before his master. Elle dives beneath the bubbles, her muffled screams of apology echoing through the steamy room. He just smirks. "You only had to ask, master. This man is getting far too dangerous." "Help!" On his way out, he nonchalantly announces their joint bath to a shell-shocked Maurice. Elle heads to the palace to face the queen, leaving the tiny Princess Pippin dreaming away. Upon waking, the princess fumes. How dare they have secret meetings while she was fast asleep? A royal tantrum ensues. Pippin declares she is officially done with Elle forever. "But wait a letter!" Pippin snatches the scroll, her eyes devouring the few lines Elle wrote. Elle offers a humble apology and exciting news. She is officially entering the grand jousting tournament. The excitement fades fast. "Is that all?" she screams, tossing the short note in a rage. Meanwhile, the kingdom of 𝓬𝓮 buzzes with energy as the legendary jousting arena is prepared. It is a brutal clash of steel, where only the strongest can unseat their rivals for glory. The champion earns the ultimate honor, dedicating their victory to their beloved or their sworn master. For Elle, her lance is for Pippin. She vows a win that will echo through history. During tea, Theo casually drops the bath bomb in front of Charlotte and a confused Pippin. Pippin goes ballistic, defending Elle's virtue against this shameless knight's scandalous claims. He is clearly testing their bonds, even after Charlotte delivers a royal slap to his face. Beneath the banter, his mind races. Which noble is truly pulling the strings of the trafficking? Elle tries focusing on paperwork, but memories of Theo's touch in the bath burn in her mind. She bangs her head in frustration just as Dame 𝓬𝓮 arrives to test her dwindling patience. 𝓬𝓮 asks to be disqualified, but Elle refuses. What is this mysterious woman truly plotting? Theo arrives to escort her, but Elle cuts deep. "We aren't dating, so this is just inefficient." He is utterly speechless. Elsewhere, Lady Adelaide trembles. The silence of an expected letter is louder than any threat. Guilt gnaws at her. Her role in the trafficking of Easterners is a tightening noose. It was that masked devil who lured her into using her merchant fleet for his trade. She was a fool, never realizing her ships carried stolen souls instead of simple silk. Now, Elle's warning echoes in her head. The law is coming, and blood is on her hands. She begs Elle for mercy, desperately testing the strength of their friendship. Elle grants a final chance, demanding the masked man's head in return. Meanwhile, Dame 𝓬𝓮 reveals she heard Theo's secret conversation last night. She suggests a tactical shift to finally conquer Elle's guarded heart. Conversely, Elle is buried in duty, managing high-stakes bidding and merchant departures. Theo finds Elle at the docks. She reaches for a shared touch. To her shock, he recoils coldly. Is he following the new advice? Laughter, Blanche idles lazily until a terrified aide wakes the sleeping beast. Days have passed since the dark human trafficking scandal first broke. Blanche's desk is a sea of papers awaiting his final, decisive signature. He refuses until Theo suddenly storms into his private office sanctum. After trading barbs, Theo demands the truth. Who's the mysterious 𝓬𝓮? Stunned, Blanche sneers he won't tell a mad dog like him anything. He threatens Theo's life, but the knight stands firm as iron. A clash ensues, leading Blanche to challenge Theo to the jousting finals. The price, Leo's identity? Theo accepts, risking his promise to Elle. Elsewhere, Elle stares blankly until her maid teases her obvious romantic glow. Panicked, she bolts to the mirror, leaving her maid deeply worried. Could she love her aide? She must suppress these scandalous feelings immediately. The Order of November begins a brutal tournament to choose 2 champions. Elle has reigned as the undefeated champion for 4 straight years. Yet the nights burn with passion. The first duel pits Laverne against Theo. Laverne secretly dreams of victory despite her history of total failure. Yet glory feels like a burden. She must remain in the shadows. She remembers her father's warning, live obscurely to stay safe from harm. Ambition is a dangerous path she simply cannot afford to take. She enters the match intending to lose, bracing for the painful fall. Unexpectedly, Maurice catches her, acting as her own human shield. In the clinic, she berates him to hide her own crushing guilt. Theo sweeps his matches while Elle effortlessly secures her finale slot. The grand day of the jousting festival finally arrives with great fanfare. The queen presides as Josephine eagerly awaits her victory wreath from Elle. Elle easily crushes her foes, marching straight into the semifinals. Blanche and Theo dominate while the crowd screams an anthem for Elle. Elle halts her horse, demanding updates on Theo's mysterious progress. News of his effortless wins leaves her heart racing with sudden doubt. Suddenly, her knight appears, commanding his master to ride his own stallion. Dazed, she mounts while her obsessive knight follows like a silent shadow. Sharing one saddle, he whispers, "This may be their final moment together." Elle faces him coldly, declaring she has no room for the weak. During the match, Blanche realizes Theo is riding Elle's broken horse. At the other arena, Elle is gripped by a chilling premonition. Yet her own battle calls, demanding her presence in the ring. The announcer screams her name, but her dread only grows louder. Abandoning glory, she spurs her horse away from the arena forever. Elle vanishes. Duel cancelled? Andre wins by default. Silent night waits. Crowd chooses Theodore. Theo's horse rebels. Blanche strikes hard. Miraculous horse dodges. Theo blocks attacks. Shatter the spear. Theo falls, panic. However, Theo wins, interrogation. Elle returns guiltily. Andre waited faithfully. Technically disqualified match. Final show allowed. Theo yields respectfully. Charlotte spots swap. Duel starts now. Steel rings. Dodging. Elite level mastery. Stallion resists Elle. Inhumanly fast strikes. Seeking her gaze. Elle scolds distraction. Soulbound final strike. Stallion remains unyielding, begging for loyalty. Elle shatters steel. Spirit was tested. Victory for Josephine. Theo's gone. Barracks. Estate transfer urgent. Party? No Theo. Forbidden subordinate love. She chooses him. Beyond mere honor. Duchess's cheeky smirk. Theo sleeps peacefully. Elle mounts him. Wakeful dream master? Deep scars revealed. Responsibility finally accepted. Exclusive dating begins. Obsessive night claims. Elle finally surrenders to the heat, pulling Theo into a whirlwind of absolute passion. Their night turns legendary. Even Theo's old battle scars reopening can't dampen his fiery obsession. The master-servant barrier shatters. Hearing his name from her lips, Theo recalls his ancient vow. Following their night of forbidden fire, as Elle dreams, Theo wonders if regret follows dawn. Praying her choice was fueled by self-love. He longs for her to claim him as an equal, not out of mere duty or pity. Suddenly, the dream turns dark. Elle awakens in a courtroom, accused of Leah's brutal murder. The legendary knight is now the prime suspect. Shadows of the West District hang over her, yet her voice fails against the Queen's tyranny. Charlotte's betrayal strikes like a blade. Then, morning light shatters the nightmare, finding Theo beside her. Sunlight spills over them. Beside her, the dangerous knight stirs with a soft, predatory gaze. Flashbacks of their wild encounter flood her mind, setting her entire soul ablaze with heat. Flustered, she dives under the covers, but Theo's teasing smirk confirms it was worth it. Passion ignites again as the Duchess wisely leaves the lovers to their private morning ritual. Instead, she grants them sanctuary, ensuring the Order of November waits while they savor this stolen peace. Over breakfast, Elle suspects foul play. Her horse was no accident. It was a calculated strike. The culprit remains in the shadows, but the hunt for the truth has officially begun. Elsewhere, Charlotte trains with Andre, while Anthony's jealousy simmers like a poison in the air. But Charlotte is drowning in a sea of secrets and terrifying premonitions. Desperate to protect her world, she struggles to master the blade like the legendary Dame Elle. She curses Theodore, blaming his obsession for tearing her away from her precious mentor. Andre offers a shoulder, tethered to her by a debt of life from years ago. Blindly loyal, he promises anything. Her chilling request? Remove Theo from Elle's side forever. The darkness has taken hold. This is a dangerous game, even for a lady. Andre hesitates, his heart breaking as he realizes her obsession mirrors the very man she hates. Reality snaps back. Though her sanity returns, her burning hatred for Theo remains absolute. Regret stings while elsewhere, Elle tries to set boundaries for her new secret romance. A pact between lovers, hidden from a world that would never understand their bond. Elle bans public affection, leaving the lethal Theo pouting like a rejected pup at headquarters. The time isn't right for the truth. Ever loyal, Theo accepts his shadow role. One last embrace before duty calls. But at training, Maurice notices Theo's unusual, brooding aura. The knights wonder what legendary prize the stoic Dame Laverne truly desires. Theo smirks, knowing the truth will emerge when the timing is perfect. While Maurice frets, Laverne's sharp intuition already pierces the secret of the two lovers. Maurice stumbles upon Laverne clutching a mysterious, ornate hairpiece in his private office. Accused of being a voyeur, the shock on her face when she sees Maurice is priceless. Blanche fulfills her oath, leading Theo to the enigmatic Lia, a ghost from the past. Lia knows his secrets. To Theo, she's just another victim of the Queen's bloody path. Since history has shifted, Theo wonders if this meeting is even necessary anymore. They descend into the South District, a lawless hellscape where only the ruthless survive. The twist? Lia is the daughter of the district's most feared criminal mastermind. The doors swing open. To Theo's absolute shock, the mysterious Lia is none other than Laverne. Back at the office, Laverne is reeling. She actually attacked the man she secretly cares for. Tension thickens as Maurice finally asks the burning question, "Are you interested in me?" The Lady Knight pleads for his patience, vowing to unveil the hidden truth very soon. But wait, if Laverne is with Maurice, then who did Theo spot with Blanche? Theo had mistaken Lia for Laverne due to their identical hair. Eager for his arrival, Lia has Blanche summon her father, the underworld kingpin of the South District. She welcomes Theo with an opulence that borders on overwhelming, clearly comfortable in his dangerous presence. In truth, Theo realizes that under the protection of a crime lord, Lia is shielded from the Queen's deadly reach. Yet, he cannot ignore it. Why does Lia's resemblance to Laverne grow more haunting by the day? Finally, Lia sees the truth. Theo remains blissfully unaware of the bond they share. She whispers of birthrights and ranks, claiming their fates were woven together long before they ever met. Theo returns home, collapsing into Elle's warm embrace. By dawn, Elle finds him still clinging to her tightly. Deciding to go public, Elle prepares to tell Catherine everything while sorting through a mountain of letters. Her brother Jean writes with pride he is finally ready to enter the prestigious Knight Academy. He will visit after the Foundation Day exams. To Elle's relief, the Duchess offers her grand estate. As Theo snuggles close to his master, Elle resolves to confess their love to Jean. But the news triggers Jean. He rushes to the estate immediately, catching the couple completely off guard. Elle never expected her brother to arrive with such frantic, impulsive speed. The carriage doors fly open, and the young boy steps out to greet his sister. He bows to the Duchess with grace, but gives Theo the cold shoulder. During dinner, Jean repeatedly kicks Theo's shins under the table, testing his patience. The moment they are finally alone, Theo's playful, dangerous side emerges. He smirks, calling him brother-in-law, sending the boy into a fit of defensive rage. Jean vows to unmask Theo's mad dog nature, purposely spilling scalding gravy on his rival. Seeing the mess, Elle tenderly helps Theo change. As his wounds are bared, Elle senses her brother's petty malice and offers an apology for his outbursts, knowing how Jean adores her. Theo only cares for Elle's affection, savoring her touch even as Jean's cruel pranks continue daily. When Theo finally confronts him, the boy strikes low, kicking Theo's fresh wounds until they bleed. Horrified, Elle snaps at her brother, sending him fleeing into a storm. Jean is torn, he is being childish, but only because he fears losing Elle forever. Soon he is lost, sobbing alone on a desolate, rain-slicked curb. A carriage stops. Lady Charlotte offers a helping hand. Later, chilling news arrives, a boy's body was found. Elle's loyal men spend their day off scouring the area, their hearts heavy with a terrible intuition. The dread peaks as they realize the victim matches Jean's description. Then, a cry rings out, "Found him!" A devastated Elle rushes forward, but Theo's iron grip holds her back. He confirms the body is not Jean. One look at the victim's neck confirms it. This is the Queen's signature, a mark of pure cruelty. Analyzing the river's flow, the knights conclude the murder took place in the shadows of the West District. Strange. The victim did not fight back, yet their clothes are drenched in blood. This grisly clue leads Maurice to believe there are even more victims out there. Theo pulls Elle into a protective embrace. Nearby, Jean is safe but uneasy. Charlotte has fed him, yet her family's dark reputation leaves him on edge. He asks to borrow her carriage to escape, and she agrees with a truly creepy expression. Suddenly, Andre arrives. Charlotte shoves Jean into a dark closet, demanding he remain silent as a grave. Andre suspects she is hiding someone, mentioning a secret meeting, but Charlotte plays the innocent noblewoman perfectly. Hours bleed into eternity in the darkness. Jean finds himself longing for Elle and even for Theo. Unexpectedly, Anthony opens the door, offering a pact of mutual escape. As the rain stops, they vanish. Lost and frightened, Jean decides to hide within the anonymity of the busy city crowds. Back at the manor, panic ensues. If the Duke finds out Anthony is gone, Charlotte's head will roll. Staring at the empty cabinet, she wonders if the boys fled together. What if Anthony saw him? Anthony did see the truth. A cloaked figure lurking in the shadows wearing a terrifying bird doctor mask. With a trembling voice, the boy confesses his true reasons for fleeing. Jean stands frozen, having genuinely feared he was locked away in some dark closet. Jean convinces himself that Anthony was merely chased by night terrors, unknowingly joining his desperate flight into the unknown. Desperate to soothe the child's fear of monsters, Jean teaches him a secret trick, counting backward with eyes shut tight, just as Elle once taught him. He attempts to guide them home, but the forest swallows their path. Wounded and exhausted, the two are forced to stop and seek shelter. Back at the estate, Elle is a wreck, her heart shattering at the thought of her missing brother lost in the dark. She tries the counting trick, but whispers to Theo that the magic has failed. Terrified by the looming shadow of loss, her usual composure utterly vanishes. In that moment of vulnerability, Theo offers her his strength. She reaches out, sealing her gratitude with a desperate, lingering kiss. He commands her to rest, vowing to bring Jean back himself. Meanwhile, the boy's resolve crumbles into icy tears as hunger and cold set in. Suddenly, a predator lunges from the shadows. But in a flash of cold steel, Theo intervenes, jokingly welcoming his brother-in-law back from the brink of death. Beyond the emotional reunion of Theo and Jean, a shocking sight awaits them. Theo is stunned when Anthony clings to his leg, wailing for his father. They quietly escort the boy home, careful to remain ghosts in the night. This marks a rare encounter, as Theo has seldom laid eyes on the mysterious Anthony. Duke Lorraine keeps the boy shrouded in secrecy, for he is a hidden piece on the board, next in line for the throne after Charlotte. The journey back begins with the dangerous knight carrying the injured Jean, a rare moment of tenderness from the man known as a monster. As they talk, Jean finally sees the truth. Theo isn't just a mad dog. He is a man completely consumed by Elle, a knight ready to die for his master. Shadows loom as Theo warns that the murders have resumed. Sensing the danger, Jean finally begins to open his heart to his sister's protector. Upon their return, Jean prepares a humble apology, but Elle pulls him into a fierce embrace, her love louder than any words of scolding. At long last, the suffocating blanket of worry is lifted from the household. Later, Theo demands his promised reward for the rescue, but Elle playfully offers only words. Their tension is broken by Jean's sudden intrusion. The boy boldly declares he will sleep in Theo's quarters, both out of newfound respect and a desire to stay close to his savior. As Elle retreats, her flushed face betrays her heart. She is dangerously close to surrendering everything the obsessed knight desires. However, she leaves a silent command for Jean, requesting a private meeting in the study once the sun rises. Arriving early, Jean finds himself captivated by a grand portrait, the hauntingly beautiful image of a young Duchess Claremont. He is struck by the royal aura of the painting, questioning why his mother stands there like a queen amongst kings. His thoughts are cut short by a surprise guest. Only when Theo bows does Jean realize he is standing before the princess, who immediately smothers him. But Princess Josephine carries heavy news. She has come to announce her marriage, a shocking fate for one so young. Peace eludes the young princess. On nights when blood stains the streets and murders occur, sleep becomes a distant memory. Seeking comfort in her mother's arms, she instead stumbles upon a bitter argument, listening from the shadows as her world fractures. It is the same tragic dance, her father's desperate shouts echoing against her mother's cold, lifeless silence. Josephine shivers, remembering her mother's chilling warning to never succumb to the weakness of a man like him. Yet she realizes her father is fighting for her freedom, desperately protesting a marriage that would steal her childhood away. It was Queen Claire who orchestrated this betrothal, a move both rulers know will sabotage Josephine's rightful claim to the crown. The king roars in defiance, refusing to let his innocent daughter become another pawn in Claire's twisted, dark games. He threatens to vanish with the child, but Claire only sneers, mocking the very concept of paternal love as a pathetic flaw. But what hidden poison lies within this marriage that could strip a princess of her birthright? Josephine clings to the memory of her father's secret warmth, how he would watch over her sleep with a smile he never showed the world. Tragically, the king bears the scars of his own torment, a silent cry for help that no one in the palace dares to hear. Back in the present, Josephine confesses her sacrifice to Jean and Theo. She will marry and obey her mother, if only to save her father. Theo's mind sharpens as he connects the dots. The ancient laws of the Ron dynasty demand a firstborn successor of legitimate blood. This marriage is a frantic race against time, fueled by the terrifying possibility that Josephine is not the king's true blood. Meanwhile, King Louis drowns in the bitterness of his existence as a mere consort, a king in name only. He was once a boy who believed in the fairy tale of love, only to find himself shackled to a woman who felt nothing for him. Even during the chaos of rebellion, his first instinct was to shield the woman who despised him, racing to ensure her safety. There, the brutal reality shattered his soul. He arrived to find his future bride already carrying the child of another man. It is a devastating revelation. Louis once sought the peace of a monastery, but lacked the courage to leave his gilded cage behind. His return was met with a radiant smile that masked 1,000 secrets. Beneath silken sheets, Claire whispers of the heir soon to be born. Her past remains a tomb. Louis wonders if his duty ends with this child. Sensing his growing coldness, she promises that even frozen hearts can change. To Louis, she is but a hollow doll playing at being a wife. The familiar chill of isolation returns, sharper than any blade from his youth. Princess Josephine arrives, a perfect porcelain mirror of her mother's haunting beauty. Yet, beneath the surface, the child harbors her father's silent, weary soul. In his daughter's eyes, Louis finally finds a reason to breathe again. She is the lone star in his dark sky. He'd burn the world for her. Blood stains the capital as Elle's team hunts a shadowy, ruthless murderer. Distracted hearts and ticking clocks turn the council into a den of tension. This bloody truth must stay buried until the foreign delegates finally depart. Elle seeks fire in Theo's arms, escaping the suffocating walls of the palace. A ghost in the hallway, Theo confronts the enigmatic and icy Duchess. He probes for royal bastards, but her denial is a wall of steel. Her trembling hands tell the story her lips refuse to ever speak. Rain lashes the windows as Leah arrives to unmask long-buried memories. Different hair, different hearts. The sisters share no true blood bond. Leah's venomous tongue mocks Laverne's purity as nothing but pathetic naivety. A predator's eye catches a glimmering prize in the sister's trembling hand. The princess views her suitors, searching for a spark of true life. The royal hunt is paused as Louis's carriage arrives to claim his daughter. Bound for dinner, Josephine masks her heart behind a veil of royal duty. Louis sees his own chains in her and offers the key to freedom. Marry for love, he urges. She chooses Jean as her heart's only master. A mother's cold blessing is given. The princess vows to strike first. The Duchess watches her fledgling bird grow the claws of a queen. A retirement of shadows awaits. She asks her knight to follow her forever. Bound by habit and obsession, Louis accepts his place in her cage. In the ruins of their war, a fragile ember of hope flickers. Secrets and sin collide as a mysterious letter exposes a hidden smuggling ring. The O'Delly name hides a web of silver and forbidden Eastern trade. Recognizing the familiar script, Elle dives alone into the wolf's den. Young Anthony's plate remains untouched, casting a pall of dread over the servants. To speak is to die. The Duke's love is a suffocating, strangling vine. Lady Charlotte is a ghost, a mistress with no kingdom to rule. Behind her eyes, two distinct souls battle for control of the madness. Shadows haunt the boy, and Charlotte vows to bury the evidence forever. The nursery door trembles as the monster's voice calls out his name. At the fog-choked docks, Elle confronts the ghost who penned the warning. Bitter memories of royal lies poison the heavy air between them. Yet, the stench of true terror in Adele's eyes cannot be ignored. Steel meets bone as Elle crushes the traffickers into the harbor dirt. The trail goes cold. The mastermind has vanished like smoke in the wind. Elle's investigation is cut short by a swarm of overeager harbor merchants. Amidst the docks, Adele shares her deepest visions of the mysterious East. Elle echoes the sentiment, praying their daring trade venture brings endless prosperity. A heavy burden vanishes as Elle finally grants Adele her long-awaited forgiveness. Adele watches with a soft smile as Theo arrives for his beloved. However, a sinister shadow awaits Adele within the walls of her home. The masked demon demands Elle, holding Fua's cold, lifeless corpse as leverage. Soon, the chilling news of Fua's tragic death echoes through the streets. Terror spreads like wildfire, driving the panicked Eastern delegates to flee immediately. Maurice delivers more grim news. Tony's body was discovered by the river. He presses Elle to reveal her secret informant for further vital questioning, but Elle hesitates. Haunted by past betrayals, she weighs Adele's desperate plea against her safety. Ultimately, she chooses to keep the secret and face the stranger alone. Elsewhere, Charlotte confronts Anthony, her heart heavy with the family's dark secrets. She weeps for her stolen future, ignored by a father who chose Anthony. Anthony acknowledges her pain but reveals he knows the true house monster. He whispers a truth so dark it shatters the very air around. Driven to a breaking point, Charlotte destroys her mirror in a frenzy. Memories of Andre's lethal protection flood her mind. A bloody, beautiful vow. The sheer violence of her savior leaves Charlotte drowning in utter confusion. She realizes the truth. Andre is the legendary killer known as the Queen. She remembers the snowy day she saved a dying boy from certain death. Over the years, Andre became the most precious person in her lonely life. But she witnessed the Duke's vile abuse, breaking Andre's spirit every night. Paralyzed by the Duke's suffocating malice, she could never find her voice. Only Andre's gentle kindness allowed her to endure their father's wicked gaze. Now, the guilt of her silence burns like a brand upon her soul. Her inner self is a shattered landscape of regret and deep-seated pain. How could Andre still smile after enduring such a hellish, tortured life? While Charlotte suffers, Elle finds warmth in Theo's deep, protective embrace. Their love burns bright, Theo teasing his little chick with playful affection. After a night of overwhelming passion, they share a final, tender promise. Yet, Elle slips into the shadows to face the Queen at last. She must uncover the truth behind the killer's bloody and calculated path. Nearby, a battered Andre prepares for his final, dark dance of death. Charlotte intercepts him, her tears a desperate plea for him to stay. He offers a comforting touch, his eyes filled with a tragic, lingering concern. She wonders how hands so warm could be so heavily stained red. To stop him, Charlotte plunges into the freezing fountain, sacrificing her safety. She awakens to a shocking report. The Queen has finally been apprehended. The killer holds Adele captive, ready to shed his mask one last time. He forces a choice, handing Adele a blade to strike down Elle. Suddenly, Elle's sword flashes through the dark in a lethal, silver arc. Breaking her silence, Adele screams a warning that this is a deadly trap. As the Queen seizes Adele, a lethal arrow streaks toward Our Lady. Elle dodges, shielding Adele as the next bolt strikes the Queen instead. The mask falls, unmasking that same bald grunt. He is just a pawn. Suddenly, the true Queen emerges, her cloak dripping with a chilling, mysterious dampness. He strikes Adele down, but before his blade reaches Elle, it is shattered by her obsessed knight, Theo. He never left her side. Sensing Theo's murderous aura, the Queen flees. Elle hands him her blade to finish the hunt. Their blades clash for only a heartbeat as the high-stakes chase intensifies through the woods. Theo slices the mask clean off, yet the villain's identity remains hidden before they vanish into the shadows once more. Back at the clearing, Elle desperately tends to Adele's wounds, blind to the soldiers now surrounding her location. Theo spots the Queen's discarded sword. Horror strikes him as he realizes the trap and sprints back to his master. He arrives too late, watching in despair as they arrest Elle under the false charge of being the Queen. Memories of the tragic past flood Theo's mind. He will not let his lady suffer that fate again. To save his master, Theo makes a desperate choice. He falsely confesses to being the bloodthirsty Queen himself. The investigators doubt him until Theo presents the bloody murder weapon as final, damning proof of his guilt. They drag him away as he whispers a final, "I love you" to Elle, a truly heart-wrenching sacrifice. 2 weeks pass in a blur of grief, silence, and unanswered questions. Elle is freed, but Theo remains locked in a dark cell, forbidden from seeing anyone as wild rumors explode. His confession sealed his fate. Now, Elle nurses Adele back to health, her heart heavy with crushing guilt and longing. She wishes it were her in those chains. If only she had not walked into that deadly trap alone. Her soul aches for her knight, wondering if he is suffering alone in that cold, lonely dungeon cell. Hidden away with Laverne, Elle ignores all comfort, her spirit broken by the loss of her devoted protector. "Just watch over Adele," she pleads, "so I can find a way to truly save my Theo." Elle returns to work, shocking everyone who believes the lies about Theo. Her superior, Maurice, begs her to rest. Seeing her hollow eyes, he lets her bury her grief in paperwork, the only thing keeping her from shattering completely. But every corner of the room screams his name, triggering a relentless flood of bittersweet, painful memories. Visions of Theo haunt her until she finally collapses, sobbing for the man she cannot live without. As Elle spirals into darkness, her closest friends gather, desperate to pull her back from the edge of despair. Charlotte sees only a ghost of the woman she once admired. This is not the fierce Elle she knew. Jean delivers more grim news. Their trade empire is crumbling alongside her heart as the business world turns cold. Elle begs for solitude, but Charlotte refuses. She drags Elle into a carriage with silent, iron determination. "I will bring back the master I have always looked up to," Charlotte vows with absolute conviction. They arrive at the harbor, greeted by a surprising crowd of loyal merchants and secret members of her club. It is her legendary fan club. They never wavered, even in her master's darkest, most vulnerable hour. Their presence offers hope, helping to stabilize the chaos even as the larger trade problems continue to loom. Surrounded by cheering faces, Elle questions if she truly deserves such unwavering devotion and love from everyone. "You saved us once," they shout. "Now, it is our turn to be your shield and help you." Their fire ignites her own. She must be strong for herself, and for the man waiting in the shadows. Charlotte hides her own secrets about Andre, finding true happiness in being the light for her dear friend. Elle forces a meeting with the queen. Reunited in the dungeon, the lovers share a desperate, burning kiss. Theo is ready to die for her future, but Elle commands her knight to stay strong and live. Bound by blood and devotion, they swear to survive this nightmare and conquer the coming ordeal together. Seeing her grit, Claire recalls Elle's mother, a woman who once defied fate to save a royal, illegitimate child. The knights expect a mourning girl, but Elle returns with eyes like cold steel and her usual strength. She enlists Maurice to follow a secret lead, Theo whispered. Following his instructions, they begin their hunt. Hidden in the office, they find a forbidden book detailing a royal bastard seeking vengeance against a king. But the story stops short as a mysterious photograph flutters out, revealing a truth that changes everything. The queen's final prey, Leah, bribes her way into Theo's dark cell. She claims royal blood, wielding a mother-of-pearl relic as her proof. This grand deception is set to ignite on National Foundation Day. Theo connects the dots. Leah's visit to Laverne was no social call. If Leah is the heir, the queen is a traitor to her blood. "Help me, kinsman," she pleads, masking her greed with family ties. Theo sends her to Elle, the knight who hates losing his victims. Leah smirks, eager to make the legendary, dangerous knight her master. Fate intervenes when she retrieves a silken handkerchief for a stranger. Sparks fly with Andre, but her bodyguards quickly sever the moment. "Until we meet again," Andre whispers, eyes lingering on his token. Festival drums echo Laverne's dreaded day. Foundation Day is finally here. She desperately schemes for any excuse to escape her royal obligations. Her heirloom hairpiece is gone. The imposter has finally made her move. Leah's visit. The realization burns like cold ice in her veins. Laverne realizes the truth. Leah is devouring her name and identity. Paralyzed by fear, Laverne relies on Maurice's steady, protective hand. Maurice whisks her away, offering a brief moment of quiet sanctuary. She yearns to confess her secret, yet the truth remains locked. Maurice sees through her lies, offering his unyielding, obsessed protection. "I am the Emperor's secret, illegitimate child," she finally confesses. Maurice remains loyal, revealing Elle is already hunting the royal thief. Leah meets Elle, confident she can force the knight to call her master. She dismisses the knight for gifts, a mistake of legendary, fatal proportions. Elle recognizes the stolen relic, remembering it from Laverne's own hand. "Why does a snake hold a princess's treasure?" Elle demands coldly. The knight's aura shifts, a storm of blood is about to break. Leah frantically frames Laverne, weaving a desperate web of lies. Another fatal error. You cannot lie to a lethal, obsessed guardian. Elle serves the throne. Any usurper is a target for immediate execution. To save the crown, Elle offers a cold, final ultimatum. "Die by my blade, or the queen's choose your end, imposter." Leah's greed turns to bloodlust. The knight must die tonight. Guards clash until Laverne and Maurice arrive to halt the chaos. The crown is a death sentence, Laverne warns her desperate shadow. "Stepping into the light will only burn your life to ash." Elle restores the heirloom, acknowledging the only master she truly serves. Andre seeks his goddess, but Leah has already vanished into exile. He mourns his lost birthday gift more than the woman herself. The Duke returns, cold and heartless, ignoring his own daughter's absence. His sadistic gaze falls on Andre. The agonizing torture begins once more. Claim the throne or Charlotte dies, the Duke threatens with malice. Theo escapes. Maurice's secret visit broke his chains of total indifference. Leah is a phantom, Maurice warns, the truth finally unveiled. Theo sees the true heir, but Maurice is now her master. Maurice confirms another save, but Theo's heart sinks. He knows bars can't hold him while Elle is in danger. His first stop? The private chambers of his aunt, Her Majesty Claire. He drops a bombshell. Duke Lorraine has infested the palace with rats, stalling every royal response. He sees through the Duke's plot. Foundation Day will be a staged bloodbath for Princess Josephine. He demands the festival end, but Claire's hands are tied by the arrival of the Eastern delegation. Still, she bets everything on her brilliant nephew's secret backup plan. With Claire's blessing, Theo sneaks to Elle, who dismisses his ghostly touch as a vivid dream. Dawn breaks as Elle greets the Eastern guests, instantly wary of their bloated security detail. A flicker of recognition hits her. Someone in that crowd is far too familiar for comfort. Hidden in plain sight, Andre sheds his mask. The wolf is officially inside the royal fold. His blade has one target, Princess Josephine. Only her blood buys Charlotte's freedom. While the royals feast, Elle's instincts scream. She slips away to investigate the mounting shadows. Guided by a traitorous ally, Andre breaches a secret chamber deep within the palace walls. There it is, the golden royal seal, shimmering with the weight of stolen authority. Elle corners the thief, but the Duke himself intervenes, shielding his pawn from her righteous blade. Josephine enters and instantly freezes. Her greatest living nightmare stands before her eyes. The Duke weaponizes her past, whispering of the blood moon until the princess finally shatters. Elle stands as a shield, daring the vile Duke to speak. Scowling, the snake finally retreats. Too late, trauma wins. Josephine collapses in shame before the horrified gaze of the entire court. Outside, the clock is ticking. Lona's men scour the grounds for a vital lead. Poor Charlotte is drowning in a sea of questions that no one will answer. Her own father has turned her into a bird in a very dangerous gilded cage. Andre is clearly the executioner, but what dark leash is the Duke using to control him? If he's just a puppet, why hasn't he vanished into the night to escape this madness? Panic sets in as she finds empty tents. Why has her father moved the army without permission? Within the palace, King Consort Louis explodes, demanding why the princess is locked in Dayan Palace. Claire tries to explain, but Louis only sees a mother betraying her daughter's freedom. He fails to see that the walls she built are meant to keep the monsters out. Andre returns to his master. The gears of their final, deadly play are finally turning. They've found her. This monster is actually hunting his own niece without a shred of mercy. Killers descend on Dayan Palace, while Elle promises Pippin she'll never let her fall. Under a cursed blood moon, Elle catches the scent of assassins stalking the dark corridors. She cuts them down like wheat, yet one dying rat dares to sneer at her. He mocks her, claiming a tide of shadows is coming that she cannot hope to stop. Her eyes blaze. They've clearly forgotten the lethal power of a true night of November. Just as the shadows close in, a familiar silhouette cuts through the darkness like lightning. It's him! Sir Theo has arrived, leading the Queen's elite 13th Cavalry like a vengeful god. The battlefield clears, and Theo's gaze locks onto the woman he'd burned the world for. His master stands frozen, unable to believe her knight has returned from his cell. Despite his aching obsession, he turns away, leaving Elle with 1,000 unanswered questions. Logic says he should be in chains. Instead, Elle is tending to a captured enemy's wounds. Seeing Pippin's innocence, the killer's heart finally cracks under the weight of his sins. He spills everything the architect of this nightmare is indeed the treacherous Duke Christophe Lorraine. Pippin's eyes sharpen. This was the gamble, forcing the enemy to reveal their hand. This traitor is the key to the Duke's ruin. Elle scolds her, yet swears to be her shield. Elle sighs in relief for her dangerous knight Theo. Yet her anger flares. How dare her servant escape her side? The Duke of Lorraine is absolutely livid as his sinister schemes crumble before his eyes yet again. Snapping, he directs his venom at Andre, commanding him to assassinate the princess with his own hands. He treats Andre like a dog on a leash, obsessed with control. This villain is vile. I hope his end is brutal. Brandishing the stolen royal seal, Andre frames the crown for the brutal trafficking of the Eastern continent's people. He paints a masterpiece of deception, making the royal family appear as the monsters behind this horrific crime. Enraged by this ultimate betrayal, the Eastern envoys prepare their blades for an all-out declaration of war. Elsewhere, Jacques and Theo infiltrate another dark den where the innocent Eastern victims are being held captive. Their timing is lethal. The Lorraine Knights are caught red-handed attempting to smuggle their human cargo toward the capital. Suddenly, the Duke himself emerges, mocking his nephew with a chilling round of applause for solving the puzzle so fast. He taunts Theo with his father August's death, cruelly asking if he's ready to meet the same bloody fate today. As Theo strikes, a Lorraine knight brutally counters, wounding him. Seeing the plan fail, the Duke orders the cold-blooded execution of every hostage. He vanishes into the shadows like a coward. Jacques intervenes just in time. Despite his wounds, Theo rejoices as they finally shatter the Duke's vile trafficking network forever. This victory ensures Elle remains safe and sound under the Crown's absolute and sacred protection. Theodore gallops like a demon possessed, leaving Jacques in the dust. The identity of his true enemy is finally clear. He finally connects the dots. Every sinister threat aimed at the royal family was a calculated strike. From the shooting range tragedy to the forged letter that cost Elle's life before his uncle pulled every single string. Foundation Day dawns. Elle warns Pippin to stay hidden, fearing the Duke will deploy his secret weapon, the serial killer queen. But Pippin stands tall, declaring herself a princess born to rule and lead her people through the storm. Why should a future sovereign tremble before a mere murderer? As the princess arrives, her regal aura silences the vile rumors. She looks like a queen, not a broken soul. While Elle and the knights secure the perimeter, the celebration is shattered by the arrival of the Eastern envoy. Lord Mujin storms in with his army, publicly accusing the royal family of sanctioning the horrific trafficking of his people. He slams down the royal seal, the ultimate proof of a crown-sanctioned betrayal that shocks the entire room. Chaos erupts. Elle springs into action, while the princess commands her to shield the queen amidst the escalating madness. Lord Mujin smirks at the carnage, certain that his mysterious accomplice will now finish the job in the shadows. Who is this shadow? Far from the palace, another battle is brewing, hidden from the eyes of the world. Laverne pouts, wishing she was at the party. Trust me, girl, you're missing a literal war zone, not a celebration. She remains focused on Adelaide's recovery. But as she tends to her, Adelaide's eyes snap open in sudden terror. She gasps out two colors, sky blue and emerald green, the eyes of the devil who plunged the blade. We all know that heterochromatic gaze. The traitor is none other than Andre himself. Back at the palace, Mujin reveals the trap. This grand spectacle was just a ruse to isolate the princess. They aim to abduct her by cutting Elle off, but their scheme fails. The 13th Cavalry arrives, led by our hero Theo. Seriously, his timing is always impeccably legendary. Elle's heart swells as Theo takes command. He loudly proclaims that every captured Eastern citizen has been rescued and secured. They are safe at the gates, with Jacques standing guard over their newfound freedom. He warns the envoy, if the crown is proven innocent, the price for this insult will be paid in blood. Though dazed, Elle's instinct screams one thing: rescue the princess. She entrusts the hall to Theo and vanishes into the night. She finds the royal guards slaughtered outside, and the princess's chambers are chillingly empty. Laverne bursts in, exposing the real monster's face. They must hunt Andre down before the princess is lost forever. Pippin wakes to a nightmare. Andre is dangling her over a deadly ledge. As she slips, a voice thunders through the room. Defying gravity, the princess claws at Andre's sleeve, clinging to life by a single thread of silk. Laverne confronts them, brandishing her mother's ornament. She declares that even if Pippin falls, she is the true firstborn princess. Andre is stunned. The secret illegitimate daughter of Queen Claire was standing before him all along. It's Laverne. The monster rises again. Andre's bloodlust grows as he marks Laverne for death. Pippin is hurled into the abyss. Laverne's world shatters as she screams in horror. Cold steel meets Laverne's throat as the remorseless Andre demands the sacred ornament. Laverne stands her ground until Elle descends from the sky, cradling the princess. Elle commands the escape while she prepares to face the mad knight alone. Steel clangs in a deadly dance until Elle's blade severs Andre's path forever. Falling to his knees, Andre's last thought is of his beloved Lady Charlotte. Elle crushes his sword hand. The broken knight begs for death's cold embrace. Death is too easy, Elle declares. Justice must be served by the law. Amidst the arrest, a shadow appears. Theo's arms wrap tightly around a weary Elle. He whispers words of comfort, but his grip is dangerously possessive and tight. Elle recoils from his intense heat. What darkness are you hiding, Theo? She demands. The Duke stole my father's life, Theo reveals, his heart consumed by vengeance. The Queen demands blood. Theo must hunt the Duke to bring his masterpiece. Suddenly, Elle pulls him close and seals her promise with a desperate kiss. Return to me safely, she whispers. Even in chaos, their obsession burns bright. Within the palace walls, the king and queen finally embrace their daughter. Pippin sees through the mask. Go to him, the princess urges her protector. Duty binds Elle, but Jean Delwa arrives. I will protect my sister. Go. At the Lorraine stronghold, the Duke prepares for a final bloody stand. Fear grips Charlotte's heart. Where is my Andre? She cries to her father. He is dead, and you are worthless, the Duke sneers, abandoning his blood. The tyrant orders her execution. Will Theo arrive before the blade falls? Faced with death, Charlotte's eyes sharpen. She must live to find her knight. Charlotte sows seeds of doubt. The Duke will betray you too. Help me. Theo arrives at the estate only to find a hollow graveyard of memories. The Duke has fled to his fortress, hiding behind a wall of innocent hostages. Theo splits his forces. Protect the weak while I hunt the monster. With cold precision, Theo prepares his trap. The Duke's arrogance will be his downfall. Charlotte plunges into the dark woods, seeking the path only she knows. She remembers Andre's childhood gift, a secret tunnel dug out of pure devotion. Tears fall for the knight who gave everything. His love was his only crime. Fate aligns as Charlotte spots Theo's men infiltrating the fortress in commoners' rags. Elle reaches the Lorraine border, her eyes searching the desolate landscape. A lethal bolt pierces the air and strikes directly at Elle's heart. Armed with Charlotte's secret, Theo breaches the fortress like a silent ghost. Revenge blazes in Theo's eyes as he stalks his uncle, Duke Christoph. The Duke laughs, convinced that his human shields will save his neck. Your luck has run out, Theo's blade kisses the Duke's throat. Christoph sneers as chaos erupts. The fortress is suddenly wreathed in flames. The madman ignited his own people. A cruel test of Theo's humanity. Kill me or save them, the Duke taunts. Theo's heart is torn in two. Theo chooses life over vengeance. Christoph gloats, thinking he has won the game. Prepare my escape, the Duke screams, bargaining with the lives of the innocent. But the villagers draw their steel. The Duke is trapped by his own prey. Rebellion. Charlotte finally strikes back against her father's tyranny. Fearless, she commands the villagers to save the burning innocents. Theo, her lethal knight, carves a bloody path for his master. Victory. Theo crushes the knights and drags the Duke away. Elle fades, her soul crying for her dangerous, obsessed protector. Don't die. Her blood-stained knight is coming to save her. Justice. Charlotte personally delivers the traitorous Duke to the Queen. His malice only fuels her fire. Her resolve is now steel. Theo finds Elle injured, and his inner beast is finally unleashed. Murderous rage. He'll choke anyone who stands in his way. The knights flee. Theo collapses, begging his master to awaken. A monster's tears. He'd gladly die just to save her soul. At death's door, a bloodied Theo appears to pull her back. Take my hand! He refuses to let his master leave him. She awakens to his desperate hug. He was terrified for days. Lovers reunite. Meanwhile, Charlotte presents her father to the Queen. No mercy. Charlotte demands the traitor face his final judgment. After the Duke is imprisoned, Charlotte makes one last plea. She begs for Andre's life. Her father's tragic, used pawn. The Queen refuses. No mercy for those who harmed royalty. Execution day. Even the princess sneaks out to watch his end. Laverne catches her, scolding the princess for wandering without guards. Pippin confesses the shocking truth. They are actually long-lost sisters. You're lying! Pippin begs her to finally meet their mother. Laverne refuses. Her life belongs to the Queen's strict duty. Duty over blood, but the sisters forge a secret bond. The Duke falls. Elle and Theo's new era finally begins. One final task. They visit Andre before his scheduled end. Any last words for Charlotte? Elle asks the doomed man. Tell her, I loved her. A final, heartbreaking confession. Elle's gaze turns sharp. Suddenly, the executioner's rope is cut. The Queen offers Elle command of the elite November Order. Elle declines, nominating a nervous Maurice to lead instead. Laverne's embrace calms him. A new commander is born today. Alone at last, Elle vows to stay with her knight. Theo's mother demands a dinner date with his beloved master. The Claremont estate welcomes them with warm, maternal joy. The Duchess finds peace, weaving Elle into their family's future. Stay with us. Elle finally finds a true family home. Theo proposes, but the wedding morning is pure, chaotic stress. Pre-wedding jitters. Even a hero trembles before the altar. A letter arrives from Charlotte, now living a peaceful life. She's redeeming herself, caring for orphans in her new land. She finally understands happiness, thankful for Andre's lingering light. As bells chime, the legendary Countess Dea returns at last. Spotting her with the Crimson Knight, the Queen freezes. Could this be the child stolen by Teresa? Secrets wait. As his family teases him, Theodore's heart races when his beloved Ling finally appears. At long last, the moment arrives he can finally claim her as his cherished wife. After enduring agony spanning 2 literal lifetimes, their fated reunion is finally within reach. As the priest binds their souls, joy erupts for the couple who defied destiny itself. Their devotion shatters time. She is his eternal beginning, his present, and his forever. The obsessed knight won his master's heart, loving her through death. Blessings to the newlyweds. Thanks for watching. May their epic journey live on forever.